Here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is...
It's 33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, government MPs rally support for embattled Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
But the opposition PNP calls the Prime Minister's lawsuit threat a frivolous spectre intended to muzzle.
I think all of this is really just to try and muzzle persons in the public space, in keeping with the operation of the Jamaica Labour Party.
And the PNP General Secretary says he would support a no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister.
JLP MP Robert Morgan says the government is not worried about the impending FID probe into Mr. Holness's statutory declarations.
We are not concerned, and I don't think the Prime Minister is concerned. The Prime Minister, he knows that every single aspect of his life is under scrutiny, even things that are unreasonably under scrutiny.
Former Police Federation Chair Corporal Rowan James loses bid to be reinstated to JCF.
And in news from the rest of the world, UN says its mission in Haiti remains underfunded and understaffed.
First in-person votes in the 2024 U.S. presidential elections have been cast.
And in headline sports, Asim Basarath is back as Vice President of Cricket West Indies Board of Directors.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Manchester Police have issued a ban on entertainment events after dark in some communities as part of efforts to keep a lid on violent criminal activity. NCU's Director of Security, Renox Seawright, says students are afraid to come out after dark.
Albion is neighbor to NCU. NCU students are afraid of Albion. It is to the extent that many students are afraid to work beyond 5 o'clock.
You'll hear more. President of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, Omar Fennell, will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, why town people no likes a good morning? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
Then in the nation's business at 6:40, fertility experts are warning that Jamaica is on the brink of a fertility crisis. How could this affect the country's development and economic growth? We'll hear from fertility specialist Dr. Loxley Christie and chairperson of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's Economic Affairs and Taxation Committee, Keith Collister.
And at 8, it's the A-Team with Dennis Brooks.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's Friday, September 20, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by Fostrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The caucus of government members in the House of Representatives has thrown its support behind Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the deepening political row over his financial affairs. The government MPs are the latest in a string of affiliates of the ruling party to support the Prime Minister, who faces intense calls from the opposition People's National Party, the PNP, to resign. Nora Gay Banton has more in this report.
The recent report by the Integrity Commission's Director of Investigation, Kevon Stevenson, has raised several questions about the Prime Minister's financial affairs and triggered a review by the Financial Investigation Division, FID. The PNP says the allegations in the report support their claim that Holness has lost the confidence of the Jamaican people. They say he must go. But the 48 government members of the lower house say no. Independent MP for Central Westmoreland, George Wright, who caucuses with the government MPs, is said to be in support of their position. In a statement Friday afternoon, Leader of Government Business in the lower house, Edmund Bartlett, says the opposition PNP is misusing and misrepresenting the Integrity Commission report to malign the Prime Minister. The government leader says the country should note that the Integrity Commission has not identified any evidence of wrongdoing by Holness. This, Bartlett says, is despite significant expenditure, years of investigation, and overseas technical assistance. He says the government members are also concerned about what he describes as the opposition's apparent inside knowledge of the Integrity Commission's activities. Bartlett has stressed that no politically motivated attacks on the Prime Minister's character or leadership will be tolerated. He's vowing that the government members will defend the Prime Minister's name and reputation with the full force of the Constitution and the law. Norgay Banton for Nationwide News.
General Secretary of the People's National Party, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says the threat of legal action by attorneys representing Prime Minister Andrew Holness is an attempt to muzzle criticism of his actions. Dr. Campbell says the PNP will not be deterred from highlighting the failures of the Prime Minister.
So I think all of this is really just to try and muzzle persons in the public space. It's in keeping with the operation of the Jamaica Labour Party. They are the gaga of the government. They have tried this with several areas of governance, but it will not deter the PNP from interrogating this matter in the public sphere.
The Prime Minister has instructed his legal team to file defamation lawsuits against senior members of the opposition PNP over comments made at a media briefing. The comments concern the dates on which the Prime Minister became aware of an Integrity Commission investigation into allegations of illicit enrichment. In a statement on Friday, the party called the threatened lawsuit a frivolous spectre. It says it will not stop the party from carrying out its representational duties and constitutional responsibilities as the opposition. Dr. Campbell says Mr. Holness had a moral obligation to tell the Jamaican people that he was aware of an investigation.
The fact of the matter is that even November 8th, when the Prime Minister was asked about the certification of his declaration, he said that there were routine questions that were submitted to him. This is after yesterday's attorneys agreed that on the 18th of August, he was informed that he's under investigation for illicit enrichment. How could he in November say that he wasn't aware of why his declaration has not been certified?
Dr. Dayton Campbell, General Secretary of the People's National Party.
Meanwhile, Dr. Campbell claims neither the PNP nor the Jamaican people have confidence in Mr. Holness's leadership and would support a call of no confidence in the House of Representatives. The PNP General Secretary says Mr. Holness remains in office only as a result of the parliamentary majority which shields him.
I think all of Jamaica, or the majority of Jamaica, has lost confidence in the Prime Minister. We're no longer able to believe what he says, and there are other things that are of significant concern to the people of the country. So I think if that were to take place, I think that would be appropriate. But the Prime Minister ought to understand that whilst he can be shielded by the Parliament with his majority, he can't be shielded from the people.
Dr. Dayton Campbell, the General Secretary of the People's National Party.
Member of Parliament for Northwest Clarendon, Robert Morgan, says the government is not worried about the impending probe by the Financial Investigations Division, FID, into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Friday, Mr. Morgan maintains that the Prime Minister has done nothing wrong.
We are not concerned, and I don't think the Prime Minister is concerned. The Prime Minister, he knows that every single aspect of his life is under scrutiny, even things that are unreasonably under scrutiny. If it is that the Integrity Commission, which has an almost inexhaustible budget, would have hired a forensic auditor to look into the Prime Minister's affairs, and the forensic auditor was not able to find any evidence of impropriety, we do not suspect, based on everything, that the FID would come to a separate conclusion, because we are confident, and he's confident, that he has done nothing wrong.
The Integrity Commission has asked Parliament to support its referral of Prime Minister Holness's financials to the FID. On Thursday, the FID announced that it had received communication from the Commission. It said it would undertake a comprehensive analysis of the contents in accordance with relevant legislation to determine what, if any, specific area may be probed in keeping with its mandate. However, Mr. Morgan says despite the opposition's claims, the party is yet to present any evidence that Prime Minister Andrew Holness has committed any wrongdoing.
Despite the press conferences and the lies that the opposition has told, they cannot bring one scintilla, an iota, a molecule, an atom of evidence that the Prime Minister has broken the law in any of these matters. And I think that is what is important. We are not worried about that. The tax authority have a right to investigate any taxpayer in Jamaica, anybody engaged in financial matters. We have empowered them. We have increased their budget. Last year, their budget was about $1.5 billion well, for this financial year, which means that the government believes in the SID. We are the ones who have empowered these entities,
Robert Morgan, Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon.
And civil society group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, says it will not comment further on the Integrity Commission report into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's financial affairs. The Integrity Commission's report has been on the lips of several stakeholders since its tabling on Tuesday. Executive Director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, had initially said parliamentarians being probed for allegations of illicit enrichment should step aside. But when pressed by our new Center for an update in light of the new revelations, Ms. Jackson says the organization will comment no further.
We have discussed it as a board, and we have no public comments on the report at this time, specifically the matters relating to the Prime Minister.
However, Ms. Jackson cautions against any attempts to interfere with the Integrity Commission.
We caution against any move that could possibly be seen as an attempt by the legislator to weaken the Integrity Commission. We urge the legislators to look at the gaps based on the established Joint Select Committee currently reviewing the Integrity Commission with an intention of strengthening the Integrity Commission, closing whatever gaps there are, and based on some of the things happening in the news cycle, we believe it is time to revisit the unexplained wealth order, as well as ensuring that the laws around anti-bribery and conflict of interest are so strengthened.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director at JFJ.
Former chairman of the Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, has lost another battle in his bid to be reinstated to the constabulary force. Corporal James has been under interdiction for over a year following comments criticizing the police high command at a colleague's funeral last year. The Supreme Court on Friday denied his mandatory injunction calling for his immediate reinstatement to the force. Shaloy Smichael tells us more.
The judgment was handed down by Supreme Court Justice Kirk Anderson. Corporal James, the claimant, filed an application in the Supreme Court for a mandatory injunction to order the Commissioner of Police to reinstate him to duties on January 19. The matter was heard in April 2024, but the judge denied the claimant's application for court orders. Costs were also awarded to the defendants. The defendants in this case are then Commissioner of Police Anthony Anderson and JCF Head of Administration Assistant Commissioner of Police Andrew Lewis. The Court of Appeal previously granted ACP Lewis leave to appeal and set aside a stay of interdiction granted to Corporal James by the Supreme Court. The court, in granting leave, formed the view that the ACP had a viable appeal and that the decision to interdict a member of the police force may not be amenable to a stay of proceedings order. James's criticism of the police high command concerned overtime payment for rank-and-file cops. He was granted leave by the Supreme Court to go to the Judicial Review Court to challenge the interdiction in November last year. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification, and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is...
It's 33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
Yes, Kemlani Mart is making deals.
Really? Deals like what?
On scratch, dented, new furniture and appliances.
Oh, that's great.
And that's not all. Kemlani Mart has tiles, toilets, doors at crazy low prices.
So I can make a deal on a sofa set?
Of course, and dining room sets, outdoor furniture, ACs and more. No reasonable offer will be refused.
Only at Kemlani Mart, Manor Center and 77 King Street.
I love this place, you see.
Continuing the news. The People's National Party has confirmed Christopher Brown as its caretaker for South East St. Mary in the next general election. This was confirmed by the party on Friday. The PNP hails Brown as a man with 23 years of experience in both the public and private sectors. The party also cites his former role as a policy director for electoral and parliamentary affairs. The PNP extended appreciation to Mr. Lorraine Ferguson, the previous caretaker for South East St. Mary, for his dedication and service. The party says its full list of candidates and caretakers will be soon complete.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
A United Nations human rights expert warned on Friday that its mission targeting criminals in the war-torn country remains underfunded and understaffed. The expert, William O'Neill, says Haiti's national police still lacked the logistical and technical capacity to fight gangs. He says the gangs are encroaching on new territories as arms and ammunition flow into Haiti despite an international embargo. According to the UN, between April and June, at least 1,300 people were reportedly killed or injured in Haiti, while over 400 have been kidnapped. O'Neill cautioned that the current mission, led by 400 Kenyan police officers, has deployed less than a quarter of its pledged contingent. O'Neill says Haiti's police chief, Ramon Normil, has disclosed that the country only has 5,000 police officers for a country of more than 11 million people.
The first in-person votes have been cast in the U.S. presidential race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, a milestone moment which comes 6 weeks before Election Day on November 5. Virginia on Friday became the first state in the country to allow in-person voting. Early polling sites will remain open until November 2. Some long queues were seen as voters cast ballots on national, state, and local levels. Some 69% of votes cast during the 2020 election were done through early in-person voting or through mail-in ballots. The latest polling suggests the presidential race is extremely tight, with Harris holding a slight national lead.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, government MPs have rallied to the support of Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
But the opposition PNP calls the Prime Minister's lawsuit threat a frivolous spectre intended to muzzle.
PNP General Secretary says he would support a no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister.
JLP MP Robert Morgan says the government is not worried about the impending FID probe into Mr. Holness's statutory declarations.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by Fosrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
There is a spark in each of us that ignites to serve you. And that's why we go above and beyond in our pursuit for service excellence. Join the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service on Wednesday, October 9, 2024 at the AC Hotel from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the At Your Service Expo. Admission is free. Come out in your numbers and experience customer service like never before. Visit over 20 booths, information sessions with the Ministry's divisions, departments, and agencies, live broadcasts, gifts, and more. Hosted by yours truly, Debbie Bissoon. Don't miss it. At Your Service Expo, Wednesday, October 9, 2024 at the AC Hotel. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, driven by service excellence. Visit www.mof.gov.jm for further details.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
You want to play all your favorite Supreme Ventures games like Cashpot and Lotto in a one place? Plus bet on sports with Just Bet and horse racing with MBet? Come take a step in at the new SV Games app. All of the games you love in a one place. Step in and play all your numbers. Bet on all your sports and get enough chances to win in the only gaming app you need. SV Games from Supreme Ventures. Visit supremegames.com to download the SV Games app. More ways to bet, more ways to win at your fingertips. Must be 18 years or older to play.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Christiana High School, they were leading Belfield by 6 goals to nil at sports time in their Issa Water, the Costa Cup football encounter. In other latest scores, Green Island, they trail Anchovy by 3 goals to 1. Malden, they lead Irwin High School by 1 goal to 0, while Herbert Morrison and Green Pond, they're goalless at sports time. The Jamaica Football Federation has confirmed the 3 international friendlies for the national senior women's football team as part of their preparation for the 2027 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which will kick off in 2025. The Reggae Girls will be playing an international friendly against the world number 10 France at the Stade Auguste Bourdon on October 25. France were quarterfinalists at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The Reggae Girls have fond memories with France, as Jamaica's first FIFA World Cup appearance in 2019 came in France, and Jamaica's first ever point at the FIFA Women's World Cup came against France at the last World Cup finals. They played out a goalless draw in the group stage. They'll also host the number 50 ranked South Africa on November 29 and December 2. This will be the first time both teams are facing each other since April of 2019 in Durban, as both teams played out a 1-1 draw. Cricket West Indies announced the re-election of Asim Basarat to the role of Vice President of its Board of Directors. Pursuant to the Cricket West Indies Articles of Association, a special meeting of members was convened for the sole purpose of electing a new Vice President today. At the close of nominations, Basarat was the sole candidate, having been nominated by the Jamaica Cricket Association and the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. The nominations were circulated as customary, and every territorial board which constitutes the shareholders was adequately notified. Of his re-election, Basarat said, quote, "I'm excited to return to my duties for the good of West Indies cricket, working alongside my dedicated colleagues at Cricket West Indies." At the close of the meeting, Cricket West Indies boss Dr. Kishore Shallow thanked members for their participation and reiterated calls for unity amongst West Indies cricket stakeholders. Cricket West Indies will host its next quarterly board meeting on September 28th. The meeting will be held in Trinidad and Tobago. The Jamaica Boxing Board will host its first fight card for 2024 at the Stanley Couch Gym tomorrow evening, and it's set to start at 7. The card will feature at least 7 local amateur bouts ranging from novice to elite, with some of the island's national boxers scheduled to be on show. This highly anticipated event will kick off a series of monthly fight cards at Stanley Couch Gym and is dubbed Gloves Over Guns Futures Program. President of the Jamaica Boxing Board, Stephen Bomber Jones, says the boxers are anxious to get in the ring as they have been training for months without competition.
What's been happening is that the more that boxing comes back in the light and the more the gyms get active, the gyms around the country, and so whether or not it's the gyms in Montego Bay or in Portmore or Olympic Gardens, one of the bigger challenges that we've been having is that the grassroots boxers themselves, the children mostly, and the novices, they're training but not having a platform. They're complaining that they're not having a platform to showcase their skills. So again, the board take everything into consideration, saying, we're going to get our national gym to a point where we can have a monthly show where the gyms that are active, they can know that once they're training, they will have a platform that they can showcase their skills.
Jones says the Jamaica Defence Force is on board with their boxers and support staff. Therefore, they're expecting some very good bout where the public should find very, very exciting. Additionally, all the clubs across the country are on board for tomorrow night's card.
Is to showcase the futures of what we have. The boxers that can't fight on fight nights because they're under 18. But still, even our amateurs that are 18 and above will still use this platform, as well as the professionals that we have that need to build their record. So it's all, what we're going to use is this platform to help feed into the fight night series that we have when we resume that, and have the best boxers on the fight nights that we carry around the country. So when we start carrying the shows around the country, you can rest assured that the best boxers on that fight card will be showcased going from community to community.
Stephen Bomber Jones, president of the Jamaica Boxing Board, and we'll have live reports from the fight card down there at the Stanley Couch Gym tomorrow during Sports Nation Live. Our report should come just after 7 o'clock. Now, Jamaica's national under-16 netball team will take on their counterparts from Trinidad and Tobago in the second game of a doubleheader at the stadium courts this evening at 7:15. The match is part of Netball Jamaica's Island Vibes two-match tournament. In the opening encounter at 6 o'clock, Denby High, winners of the recent Youth Summer Invitational and first holders of the Marva Bernard Trophy, will go up against Trinidad and Tobago's under-18s. President of the Trinidad and Tobago Netball Association, Sherry Ann Blackburn, says she's happy for the cultural exchange that the tournament offers.
And we know that both countries can benefit from this, and we hope that it will foster, a mutual understanding and respect and friendships that will contribute to personal development and growth.
Sherry Ann Blackburn, the tournament will conclude on Sunday with 2 games. And just going back to a bit of football news here, after experiencing their first defeat under new manager Arne Slot, Liverpool will aim to bounce back in the English Premier League. They take on Bournemouth on Saturday. Despite the loss to Nottingham Forest last weekend, Liverpool ranked 4th in the Premier League at the minute with 3 wins in 4 games, mostly showing positive early results as Slot settles into life at Anfield. And they'll be keeping with a strong start going when they host Bournemouth, as I mentioned. In other fixtures, tomorrow, West Ham United with Mikel Antonio, the Reggae Boy, will take on Chelsea. Aston Villa with Leon Bailey will host Wolverhampton Wanderers in a Midlands derby. Fulham are at home to Newcastle. Leicester City will take on Everton. Southampton will take on Ipswich Town. And, of course, Tottenham Hotspur, they are at home to Brentford in a London derby. And Crystal Palace will tussle with Manchester United. In Sunday's games, Brighton and Hove Albion will take on Nottingham Forest. And the champions Manchester City will lock horns with its second place Arsenal in a top-of-the-table clash at the Etihad. Caribbean Producers Jamaica Limited, CPJ, renewed their partnership with Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL, for the 3rd staging of the Mute Mile Invitational at Caymanas Park that's set for December 7. The Mute Mile Invitational is a Grade 1 event for 3-year-olds and upwards going over a mile for a purse of $250,000 US. As one of the premier food and beverage companies in the region, CPJ is excited to add its distinct premium brands to support Caymanas Park's marquee race day. Brand manager of spirits and beverages at CPJ, Natisha Powell, shared the significance of the sponsorship.
This is our 3rd year sponsoring Mute Mile, and it is absolutely a necessity for us to be on board. Woodford Reserve is actually the bourbon of the Kentucky Derby, and we have to bring it to Jamaica. So last year was our first staging where we would have executed, and we got raving reviews. So we had to come back this year doing it bigger and better, starting, of course, with our whiskey tasting at Trail to the Mile. I'm looking forward to betting this year. Last year, I definitely missed that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to to be more a part of it. So introducing the spirits one, showing his versatility through our specialty cocktails, but being a part of the Supreme experience by taking a bet.
This year's Mute Mile Invitational is being preceded by a series of exciting events dubbed Trail to the Mile. Powell says CPJ will be hosting the first Trail to the Mile event on September 28th, which will feature a special Woodford Reserve testing.
Trail to the Mine, oh Lord. Boots, barrels, and bourbon. It's going to be a whiskey experience. We're going to take you through the Kentucky bourbon production process, and then we're going to have the opportunity to taste the different whiskeys that we have available through Woodford Reserve.
And that's Natasha Powell. She's brand manager of spirits and beverages at CPJ. And that will lead for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you. The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
Yes, Kemlani Mart is making deals.
Really? Deals like what?
On scratch, dented, new furniture and appliances.
Oh, that's great.
And that's not all. Kemlani Mart has tiles, toilets, doors at crazy low prices.
So I can make a deal on a sofa set?
Of course, and dining room sets, outdoor furniture, ACs and more. No reasonable offer will be refused.
Only at Kemlani Mart, Manor Center and 77 King Street.
I love this place, you see.
Motorists, as Minister of Justice, I appeal to you, obey the road code, pay your ticket on time, and only go to court if the ticket is being contested. Close to 80% of matters coming to the parish courts are for traffic breaches. Let's work together to make our roads safe and ease the burden on our courts.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
The future of manufacturing is now. Join the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, in association with VM Group for an unforgettable evening on September 28, 2024 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. They're celebrating the industry's brightest minds and the groundbreaking achievements shaping Jamaica's future. Request your tickets at bit.ly/2024 awards tickets or email awards@jmea.org to learn more. Let's witness the future. September 28 at 6:30 p.m., the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel.
It's 33 minutes after 5. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 on a Friday afternoon. We hope we find you well. Here inside the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
How are you doing, Siobhan?
Doing quite well. You recovered? Feeling better?
Yeah, I do feel better, thankfully. And thank you so much for standing in the breach for me. Yeah,
I try.
Good afternoon to our friends on YouTube. Good afternoon to our friends joining us on radio, and hello to you if you're joining us online or on the app. Now, the Director of Security at Northern Caribbean University, NCU in Mandeville, Manchester, Renox Seawright, says some students are living in fear off campus. This follows 3 recent murders and shooting incidents in the area over the past 2 weeks. On Thursday night, Seawright told a meeting in the community of Albion that many NCU students are afraid of the dark.
Albion is neighbor to NCU. NCU students are afraid of Albion, although many NCU students live in Albion. Now it is to the extent that many students are afraid to work beyond 5 o'clock because we have a work-study program. Many students are afraid to work beyond 5 o'clock and they're afraid to come out before sunrise. It not only affects the work and study program, their general academic programs, because even when libraries open and we are planning to reopen until 10 p.m., they are not going to be there. They're not going to be there.
Also speaking with Nationwide News on Friday, Mr. Seawright says that it is not a new issue.
NCU has always been concerned about the safety of our students and staff as well, workers. And the students themselves, they are very aware, and even before we get to them sometimes, they institute their own ways of protecting themselves. For example, we will tell them, walk in groups when you can, walk where the place is better lit, don't take shortcuts, etc., etc. But from where we stand, and I can speak from a director of a department, security department, I can speak from that, and I can speak in the capacity of a facilitator of student employment. Now we find that students don't want to work beyond 5 p.m. And we find that students don't want to come to work before daylight, sun is up. So they have this fear of being attacked or fear of, not getting home safely. So they have instituted their own protection measures before we get to them. Yeah, they are doing that. But apart from that, at NCU, we do have security and safety orientation every semester, and that we use to sensitize our students about the dangers that may be around, just to keep themselves safe and secure as best as possible. I have been in this role for 12 years going, so I can speak experientially. All right. Now, actually, at this time of year, it is one of the times when students are more vulnerable because we have new students. These students don't yet know the profile of the communities in which they will find living accommodation. So they stand out. And this is the time of year when students usually get robbed of their laptops and smartphones and stuff like that. Fortunately, we haven't had any reports of that sort this semester, not as yet, and we really don't want any. But there have been times pre-COVID when we had multiple cases, so much so that we had a kind of special arrangement with the Mandeville Police to have special patrols just so that we could keep those numbers down. Yeah, so it has happened before, and we're trying our best not to have any repeat of that situation.
That's Renox Seawright, the Director of Security at the Northern Caribbean University. Meanwhile, the Manchester Police have issued a ban on entertainment events after dark in some communities in the parish. This is part of efforts to keep a lid on violent criminal activity. Now, the police are saying that inter- and intra-gang conflicts were responsible for several shooting incidents and 5 murders over a 7-day period in the parish earlier this month.
Zone Commander for Manchester, Assistant Superintendent Lamar Clark, says the police will resume the issuing of permits for parties once order has been restored.
It's all has to do when situations are under control in your community. So if situations are under control where us, the police, feels that it is safe for citizens to gather, and upon gathering, their lives are not at risk, then we will be able to grant some permits in this area. As with regards to the areas that are no permit zones presently, it is almost to say the entire Manchester at this time. But let me outline a few communities. Right where we are at now, in Albion, top, bottom, Tulsa Street, Green Street, Mayday, Cedar Grove, Georges Valley, Richmond, Royal Flats, Arties, New Hall, Comfort, Broadleaf. So you realize I am naming almost, I forgot the famous Greenville, New Green. So you realize I am almost naming the entire parish. And this is because the crime monster is not affecting one area within the parish. It is affecting the entire parish. But you are here this evening and you want your community to have your entertainment back. So you gonna have to work with the police to get the community at a place. Because let me tell you the situation that plenty of you don't understand. For an event to be granted, the superintendent in charge of the parish is saying to the commissioner of police that I am confident that there will be no act of violence in this area. Citizens are safe to come out and enjoy themselves. That's what happened when he puts his signature to that permit. So when the superintendent does not have that reassurance, he cannot. Because when a shooting happening Green Street or Albion, him head raised because I'm sure that the commissioner will be calling him to account. So imagine him go give a permit round here. And when you look, the dance shoot up and 4 body there ground. What him tell the commissioner say? When him didn't know say problem round here. So we have to solve the problems before we can start issuing permits. And don't get me wrong. Jamaica we have a culture of dance and entertainment. But when that dance and entertainment threatens the life of our citizens, we have to put measures in place. And that is what is presently happening in the Manchester Division.
That's Assistant Superintendent Lamar Clark, Zone Commander for Manchester. He was speaking at a community meeting in Albion on Thursday night.
In the meantime, at least one party promoter, Natalie McKenzie, says she's already feeling the effects of the ban on entertainment events recently imposed by the police.
What about the people that been paying their round robin every week? And how is it we can collect our little money back?
Yeah, make a little extra.
You know, make a little extra over the weekends because we work so hard paying our money. Although yes, you said the good have to suffer for the bad, but remember we have our kids, and we've been hustling to pay back the people them for them get them dry. You know, we need a little assistance for that. So if just as my colleagues have said, if we can at least have 2 police in our venue, yeah. You know, make we just throw back and if I even a little time, we get a little time to collect back our money. Because trust me, it's not been easy for us.
That's Natalie McKenzie, a party promoter and resident of Albion in Manchester. So that's the situation essentially in the cool and usually quiet parish. So we're going to take the break, and after the break, we'll speak to the president of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, Omar Fennell.
Clearing personal non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:43.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales.
They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Former staff of Jamaica Mutual Life and Jamaica Mutual Properties, for beneficiaries of the pension schemes or their next of kin or beneficiaries of their estate, are invited to contact Guardian Life at 12 Trafalgar Road, Kingston 10, or 876-927-4105, extension 2794, or GLL Pensions at myguardiangroup.com to make arrangements to claim their pension and or any other benefits payable.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Highway 2000 East West. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until September 30.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, as we discuss this matter of the growing crime situation in Manchester. We have with us President of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, Omar Fennell, to discuss further. Good afternoon, Mr. Fennell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, from where you sit, Mr. Fennell, from the the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, rather, how serious is the situation now? Based on what we're hearing from residents and the students of NCU, it seems things have reached quite a concerning peak.
Yes, it has. I mean, the most important thing for any business is customers. And, between customers and staffing, and these are persons who live in the communities that are affected. So you can imagine that there is a domino effect, based on what's happening here.
And we heard earlier from the director of security at NCU that, the students are expressing some amount of concern about being out after dark. Are you getting the sense, not only from business leaders, but just residents in general in the parish, that is the case?
Certainly, there is a lot of fear. A quiet community like, Christiana, which, the only thing you know about Christiana is that it's cool and quiet. Mm-hmm. Now, when you hear a couple of murders that side, one tends to wonder what's happening. And of course, the problem that I think we're having in Manchester is that there's a mass migration of criminals. Mm-hmm. So I can understand why the students would be scared. Staff scared, the business persons are scared as well. In the town, you might not have that effect like it's having in some of the residential areas. Now, the students live in the residential area, so I imagine that they'll be feeling the brunt of it.
And give me a sense of the character of the businesses. Are we talking about supermarkets, car marts? What are some of the main kind of businesses that are being affected?
I believe that, most of the persons in entertainment, those that will go up after 8 p.m. and upwards. Then in some areas, you have just regular businesses that would go up to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They are now going out at 5 p.m. So you find that the staff especially, your staff don't want to be out too late. Now, like I'm saying though, in the town area, you'll have persons like supermarkets who will be closing just a little bit earlier. And if you have an entertainment business, if you're in the town, you're okay. There's no curfew in the town. But those on the outskirts, like the bars and so forth, those persons who put on the events, they'll definitely be affected by the curfew especially.
So we're talking about the smallest operators essentially?
We are, because the banks and so forth will close 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock and so forth. But then those are the persons who need to go a little bit later, who deal with persons who leave work 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Those persons are definitely, most affected.
So we hear from the police where they're restricting entertainment venues in certain communities. Do you get a sense that the police are on top of the situation?
I tell you something. There's crime, and of course there's the police, and the police is doing everything that they can. What I'm also
what I'm also getting is a sense that the police is doing everything that they can, or as much as they can, and they're increasing it. I mean, in the business district, especially the financial district, we had some incident last year where we had a massive robbery. So the financial district is protected. There is even an offer from the police to, escort persons who are carrying large sums of cash and that sort of thing. So they're doing as much as they can. And I mean, one part of that is to protect the residents. And that means they'll have to do what they have to do until crime is under control so they can, get back to normal.
And you talked about the mass migration of criminals. I'm imagining you live in Manchester, yes?
Yes.
And is this the worst you've seen it since you've lived there?
I think it is. There is always some amount of crime, but right now, there are a lot of strange persons around. And yes, we do see it. And I think it is the worst it has been.
Mm-hmm. And so when you say you think the police, they're doing as much as they can, but do you get the sense that their strategies are changing to take into account what you just described as mass migration?
I definitely think they are. And one of the things that would affect us here in Manchester as well is when they tighten things in like a Clarendon and St. Elizabeth, and you put on the curfews, and you have some sort of a lockdown on the criminals there, they'll find the next easiest target. And we are definitely next, the one of the, not necessarily an easy town to come in, but Manchester is very unique. You'll find that you have a lot of persons here, persons who are, who would be classified as, higher income persons. Persons come, they try to blend in, and you almost have no idea that they are not from here.
And that's exactly where I wanted to go next, because when I was growing up, I was told that a lot of people who live in Manchester are people who have returned home to retire. So in a situation like that, are community members being vigilant to say, okay, Siobhan Campbell or Ricardo Brooks is not from here. I haven't seen him from here. I should alert the police that this new person has popped up in the community.
So, I mean, that's an age-old problem where persons might not speak comfortably to the police. In terms of persons who are coming in, there's a new highway here leading to Mandeville. Now you find that a lot of persons are coming to Mandeville to live, legitimate persons. But then you'll find an equal amount of persons who are coming in who are, doing stuff that are on the opposite side. So, I mean, Mandeville is opening up, and it's something that we welcome as a business community. But then there are effects of it, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is an immediate effect of it, but it's probably a part of it.
Yeah. What about from the business community standpoint? Do you have a comfortable enough relationship with the police where, for example, I understand there are concerns regarding some of the used car, I want to call them car marts, as they would put it, have been propped up as a sort of money laundering front. Are you in such a comfortable enough relationship with the police that if you see something of concern, you can report that to them without fear of reprisal?
So we should be comfortable to report it. But again, that's a little gray area based on what I'm saying to you. There are persons who are actually legitimately doing their business. So it's a matter of sifting out, the roads from the thorn. As far as I see it, though, Mandeville was a car district, from New Line Motors and Matt D's and so forth back in the day. So Mandeville became that place where persons come to shop for cars. Now, in terms of the value of cars, some persons will try to do some sort of laundering, but we would not know those who are not legitimate business people. So that's a part of the problem as well.
You express concerns about the small operators, especially those outside of Mandeville. What kind of compromise do you think can be struck between the need for security, the obvious need for security, and ensuring that people like, I think it was Natalie McKenzie we played earlier, that they can get on with their lawful business and try to make a living?
So that's a tough one, and again, is the same reason the police had mentioned, is that they'll have to do it until things turn around. So I know it's going to be tough for some of those business persons. There's almost nothing that we can do until the murders stop. So if the murders are being committed in those areas, then there's definitely no chance that the police is going to be able to grant them, license to carry on entertainment activities. It's a sad truth, but I'm not so sure if there's anything else that the police can do. I mean, unless they're going to move it somewhere in the town where there is no curfew, but that's not even going to happen. What I'm saying is that they'll have to probably wait it out a little bit, and I'm very sympathetic, with what's happening there, but as you can imagine, there isn't much more that can be done. You wake up tomorrow morning and hear that there's a murder there. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be, a follow-up event in the evening. That's just not going to happen. That's just a sad part of it.
Yeah. Do you potentially believe there might be a need for a state of public emergency in Manchester? Do you think things have reached to that level?
I might not be qualified to say that, but I don't think it's at that particular stage as yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that that's not something that we'd have to resort to. But if it is needed, we'll have to welcome whatever it takes to get back Mandeville to becoming this place that is nice, quiet, and cool. Just the same thing that you know about Mandeville.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Manchester.
Yeah, right. And in terms of if you could, talk to the high command, because I know you said that you think, the officers on the ground are doing the best they can. But obviously, as you mentioned, the situation of having to respond in such a way that people's livelihoods are affected is a tough one. If you could ask the high command in terms of resources, what would you be saying to the commissioner?
I would be saying, Mr. Commissioner, we need as much resources as we can get. We need intelligence. But guess what happens? Intelligence still come back down to us as residents, right? So the same request I'd make from the intelligence, give us more of everything that we need to help solve, crime in Manchester. I would say to the residents as well that, listen, whatever is happening, you need to talk to the police. That's the only way we'll get back to normal. So, the two-sided fence, and that's what I said to them.
Yeah. All right. Omar Fennell, President of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I didn't grow up hearing about crime in Manchester.
Most definitely not. It always seemed like one of those bustling but sleepy parishes.
Yeah. What I recall about Manchester, because I used to go there in Mandeville on church retreats, and I always look forward to it because it was so cool and nice. The mornings were lovely, and the people walk slow, and I always marveled at that because I said, boy, they just life is just cool and slow, and there's no need for the hustle and bustle. And so when I read these stories and I hear these stories, I think, wow, the character of so many of our communities are changing. And Mr. Fennell said something that I think is interesting, which is that a lot of these people of unsavory characters, they're using things like highway developments to get easier access into these the more quieter parishes. For example, I recall one of the senior officers mentioning St. Thomas, where people from Kingston were sort of just jumping on the highway, using that as an entry point to commit crimes in the parish and then leaving. Yeah, so it's sort of the paradox, I suppose, of development, where we need the development.
Infrastructure fuels all growth,
all kinds
even
of
if the growth is not necessarily wanted.
Yeah, and that's difficult. But I think what needs to happen now is the government, the high command, they need to recognize that as the country is rapidly experiencing development in areas, as you're saying, all kinds of growth will follow it. And we have to be forward thinking in terms of how we plan. That where roads go, development will follow, but so too will crime. So we have to make sure that the resources are in place to combat it.
Well said.
Yeah. All right. The headlines at 6 are next. That's the cover story.
The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Public opinions.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The caucus of government members in the House of Representatives has thrown its support behind Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the deepening political row over his financial affairs. The government MPs are the latest in a string of affiliates of the ruling party to support the Prime Minister, who faces intense calls from the opposition PNP to resign. Nora Gay Banton reports.
The recent report by the Integrity Commission's Director of Investigation, Kevon Stevenson, has raised several questions about the Prime Minister's financial affairs and triggered a review by the Financial Investigation Division, FID. The PNP says the allegations in the report support their claim that Holness has lost the confidence of the Jamaican people. They say he must go. But the 48 government members of the lower house say no. Independent MP for Central Westmoreland, George Wright, who caucuses with the government MPs, is said to be in support of their position. In a statement Friday afternoon, Leader of Government Business in the lower house, Edmund Bartlett, says the opposition PNP is misusing and misrepresenting the Integrity Commission report to malign the Prime Minister. The government leader says the country should note that the Integrity Commission has not identified any evidence of wrongdoing by Holness. This, Bartlett says, is despite significant expenditure, years of investigation, and overseas technical assistance. He says the government members are also concerned about what he describes as the opposition's apparent inside knowledge of the Integrity Commission's activities. Bartlett has stressed that no politically motivated attacks on the Prime Minister's character or leadership will be tolerated. He's vowing that the government members will defend the Prime Minister's name and reputation with the full force of the Constitution and the law. Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
General Secretary of the People's National Party, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says the threat of legal action by attorneys representing Prime Minister Andrew Holness is an attempt to muzzle criticism of his actions.
So I think all of this is really just to try and muzzle persons in the public space. It's in keeping with the operation of the Jamaica Labour Party. They are the gaga of the government. They have tried this with several areas of governance, but it will not deter the PNP from interrogating this matter in the public sphere.
The Prime Minister has instructed his legal team to file defamation lawsuits against senior members of the opposition over comments made at a media briefing on Thursday. The comments concern the dates on which the Prime Minister became aware of an Integrity Commission investigation into allegations of illicit enrichment. Dr. Campbell says Mr. Holness had a moral obligation to tell the Jamaican people that he was aware of an investigation.
The fact of the matter is that even November 8th, when the Prime Minister was asked about the certification of his declaration, he said that there were routine questions that were submitted to him. This is after yesterday's attorneys agreed that on the 18th of August, he was informed that he's under investigation for illicit enrichment. How could he in November say that he wasn't aware of why his declaration has not been certified?
Dr. Dayton Campbell, General Secretary of the PNP. Meanwhile, a member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, is describing as unbecoming the PNP's comments about Prime Minister Andrew Holness's plans to sue for defamation. In a statement on Friday, the PNP called the Prime Minister's threat frivolous. Senator Fitzhenley says the response is unwise.
It is particularly unbecoming for Tony Hilton to
allude to the Prime Minister's move to protect his reputation as frivolous. This after the PNP made unwise, untrue and derogatory comments about him in a broadcast which was aired on a national media platform. Mr. Hilton will see what he shall see. I wish to make a quick point though. This entire approach is consistent with the nature of the PNP over the years. They are accustomed to launching unbecoming attacks and making untrue statements about Jamaica Labour Party leaders. But they will not get away with it concerning the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness.
Senator Fitzhenley says the JLP will not engage in a tit-for-tat with the PNP concerning the comments made at the press conference, which he says maligned the Prime Minister without credible basis.
The Prime Minister has been busy governing Jamaica. Just yesterday, he handed out more houses to Jamaicans in need via a program he conceptualized. So we won't spend any time debating pending litigation with Mr. Hilton in the public domain. The next time the PNP hears from us on this matter will be via legal correspondence, and if they don't adopt a contrite public posture concerning some of the vile and untrue statements made concerning the PM, they will have to explain themselves to the Supreme Court in downtown Kingston.
Senator Abka Fitzhenley. And civil society group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, says it will not comment further on the Integrity Commission report into Prime Minister Andrew Holness's financial affairs. Executive Director of the JFJ, Mikel Jackson, had initially said parliamentarians being probed for allegations of illicit enrichment should step aside. But when pressed by our news center for an update in light of the new revelations, Ms. Jackson says the organization will offer no further comment.
We have discussed it as a board and we have no public comments on the report at this time, specifically the matters relating to the Prime Minister.
Ms. Jackson, however, cautions against any attempts to interfere with the Integrity Commission.
We caution against any move that could possibly be seen as an attempt by the legislator to weaken the Integrity Commission. We urge the legislators to look at the gaps based on the established Joint Select Committee currently reviewing the Integrity Commission with an intention of strengthening the Integrity Commission, closing whatever gaps there are, and based on some of the things happening in the news cycle, we believe it is time to revisit the unexplained wealth order, as well as ensuring that the laws around anti-bribery and conflict of interest are so strengthened.
Mikel Jackson, Executive Director of the JFJ. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
My Mega
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
On Sunday, August 11th, in the quiet community of Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon, our entire nation was shaken by a brutal act of violence.
Gangsters mercilessly took the lives of 8 innocent Jamaicans, including a 7-year-old boy and several women.
These criminals will strike again, destroying more families and more communities unless we stand together to stop them.
If you have any information that can help bring these killers to justice, please share it with the security forces.
The government has established a reward fund of $25 million for information leading to the arrest and charge of the perpetrators who committed this heinous act.
The facilitators who supplied them with arms, intelligence, and transportation.
Those who harbor and protect these criminals after the crime.
If you know something, say something.
Call Crime Stop at 311 MOCA at 888-6622-847.
NIB at 811 or the JDN at 837-8888.
Together, we will defeat the gangs and develop a culture of peace in our country.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Ministry of National Security.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alex Swaby. We bowl things off with some cricket as Cricket West Indies CII announced the re-election of Azim Bazarath to the role of Vice President of its Board of Directors. Pursuant to the CII Articles of Association, a special meeting of members was convened for the sole purpose of electing a new Vice President today. At the close of nomination, Bazarath was the sole candidate, having been nominated by the Jamaica Cricket Association and the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. The nominations were circulated as customary, and every territorial board, which constitutes the shareholders, was adequately notified. Of his re-election, Azim Bazarath said, "I'm excited to return to my duties for the good of West Indies cricket, working alongside my dedicated colleagues at Cricket West Indies." At the close of the meeting, CII President Dr. Kishore Shallow thanked members for their participation and reiterated calls for unity amongst West Indies cricket stakeholders. CII will host its next quarterly board meeting on September 28. The meeting will be held in Trinidad and Tobago. And now to footballers. Christian High were impressive today, slamming Belfield by 7-0 in their Issa Water Acosta Cup encounter in Christiana. In other games, favourite Gillenmore outscored Fogo Road 4-2, Malden beat Irwin 3-0, while Green Pond tagged Herbert Morrison 2-0. In the latest score, Anchovy leads Green Island 3-1. The Jamaica Football Federation JFF has confirmed 3 international friendlies for the national senior women's team as part of their preparation for the 2027 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which kicks off in 2025. The Reggae Girls will be playing a friendly international against world number 10 France on October 25. France were quarter-finalists in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The Reggae Girls have fond memories with France, as Jamaica's first FIFA Women's World Cup appearance in 2019 came in France, and Jamaica's first ever point at a FIFA Women's World Cup came against the French in the 2023 tournament in Australia in a 0-0 draw. The girls will also host 50th ranked South Africa on November 29 and December 2. This will be the first time both teams are facing each other since April 2019 in Durban, as both teams played out a 1-1 draw. After experiencing their first defeat under new manager Arne Slot, Liverpool aim to bounce back in the English Premier League when they take on Bournemouth on Saturday. Despite the loss at Nottingham Forest last weekend, Liverpool ranked 4th in the Premier League with 3 wins from 4 games, mostly showing positive early returns as Slot settles in to life at Anfield. They will be tasked with keeping their strong start going when they host Bournemouth, who have won just 1 game in the league so far, but are trying to build one of England's best attacks. In other fixtures, West Ham play Chelsea, Aston Villa host Wolves, Fulham are at home to Newcastle, Leicester City take on Everton, Southampton face Ipswich Town, Nottingham welcome Brentford, and Crystal Palace tussle with Manchester United. In Sunday's games, Brighton play Nottingham Forest, and the champions Manchester City lock horns with Arsenal. The Jamaica Boxing Association JBA will host its first fight card for 2024 at the Stanley Couch Gym tomorrow evening starting at 7. The card will feature at least 7 local amateur bouts ranging from novice to elite, with some of the island's national boxers on show. This highly anticipated event will kick off a series of monthly fight cards at Stanley Couch Gym and is dubbed the Gloves Over Guns Future Program. President of the JBA, Stephen Bama Jones, says the boxers are anxious to get in the ring as they have been training for months without any competition.
What's been happening is that the more that boxing comes back in the light and the more the gyms get active, the gyms around the country, and so whether or not it's the gyms in Montego Bay or in Portmore or Olympic Gardens, one of the bigger challenges that we've been having is that the grassroots boxers themselves, the children mostly, under the novices, they're training but not having a platform. They're complaining that they're not having a platform to showcase their skills. So again, the board take everything into consideration, saying, we're going to get our national gym to a point where we can have a monthly show where the gyms that are active, they can know that once they're training, they will have a platform that they can showcase their skills.
Jones says the Jamaica Defence Force is on board with their boxers and support staff. Therefore, there will be some very good bouts which the public should find interesting. Additionally, all the clubs across the island are on board for tomorrow's fight card.
Is to showcase the futures of what we have. The boxers that can't fight on fight nights because they're under 18. But still, even our amateurs that are 18 and above will still use this platform, as well as the professionals that we have that need to build their record. So it's all, what we're going to use is this platform to help feed into the fight night series that we have when we resume that, and have the best boxers on the fight nights that we carry around the country. So when we start carrying the shows around the country, you can rest assured that the best boxers on that fight card will be showcased going from community to community.
Stanley Bomber Jones. Now on to netball, as Jamaica's national under-16 team will take on their counterparts from Trinidad and Tobago in the second match of a doubleheader at the Stadium Courts this evening at 7:15. The match is part of Netball Jamaica's Island Vibes 2-match tournament. And then behind, the winners of the recent Youth Summer Invitational and first holders of the Marva Bernard Trophy are currently playing Trinidad and Tobago under-18s in the opening encounter. President of the Trinidad and Tobago Netball Association, Sherry Ann Blackburn, is happy for the cultural exchange that the tournament offers.
And we know that both countries can benefit from this, and we hope that it will foster, a mutual understanding and respect and friendships that will contribute to personal development and growth.
Sherry Ann Blackburn. The tournament will conclude on Sunday with 2 matches. On to horse racing, as Caribbean Producers Jamaica Limited, CPJ, renewed their partnership with Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL, for the third staging of the Mootay Mile Invitational at Caymanas Park on December 7. The Mootay Mile Invitational is a Grade 1 event for 3-year-olds and upward, going over a mile for a purse of $250,000. As one of the premier food and beverage companies in the region, CPJ is excited to add its distinct premium brands to support Caymanas Park Marquee Race Day. Brand manager of spirit and beverages at CPJ, Natasha Powell, shared the significance of the sponsorship.
This is our 3rd year sponsoring Mootay Mile, and it is absolutely a necessity for us to be on board. Woodford Reserve is actually the bourbon of the Kentucky Derby, and we have to bring it to Jamaica. So last year was our first staging where we would have executed, and we got raving reviews. So we had to come back this year doing it bigger and better, starting, of course, with our whiskey tasting at Trail to the Mile. I'm looking forward to betting this year. Last year, I definitely missed that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to being more a part of it. So introducing the Spirits One, showing its versatility through our specialty cocktails, but being a part of the Supreme experience by taking a bet.
This year's Mootay Mile Invitational is being preceded by a series of exciting events dubbed Trail to the Mile. Powell says CPJ will be hosting the first Trail to the Mile event on September 28, which will feature a special Woodford Reserved tasting.
Trail to the Mine, oh Lord, boots, barrels, and bourbon. It's going to be a whiskey experience. We're going to take you through the Kentucky bourbon production process, and then we're going to have the opportunity to taste the different whiskeys that we have available through Woodford Reserve.
Natasha Powell. And finally, in badminton, the Jamaica Badminton Academy Shuttle Showdown Tournament continues with Phase 2 at the YMCA tomorrow. This event features top badminton players from across the island and showcase high-intensity matches that promise to be a treat for spectators. Director of the Jamaica Badminton Academy, Matthew Lee, says participating in the Shuttle Showdown offers numerous benefits for the players, including exposure to top-level competition and potential scholarship opportunities.
Again, and
very, very important development is that a lot of the players had an intensive training camp in China, and they've come back about a week ago, and we've seen their skills already. Amazing development from them. The Premier League for badminton. And I really want everyone to come out, especially on Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the finals is on Sunday. So come out, guys.
Matthew Lee. Nationwide will have a live report from the tournament during Sports Nation Live tomorrow starting at 5:10 p.m. I'm Alex Riby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
It's time for a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paint's 100% acrylic Ultima Plus paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters. The go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works. Workers. People who are powerful because they power through. Day after day. Challenge after challenge. You see, true power, it's not something you can buy or collect. It is something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snack Peanuts. Proud supporters of the powerful.
Tie your laces, put on something purple, and support the CIBC Caribbean Walk for the Cure. Join us at Hope Gardens on Sunday, October 6th at 6 a.m. We're walking, running, and moving in the fight against cancer. Sign up today at runningeventsja.com. Registration fee $3,000 includes your Walk for the Cure t-shirt while supplies last. CIBC Walk for the Cure, Sunday, October 6th, 6 a.m. at Hope Gardens. All proceeds in aid of the Jamaica Cancer Society.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. It's 6:21 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM. And I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our YouTubers. Feel free to weigh in live on today's Public Opinion. How long is Pub Up supposed to be, Bugs? Because I think we're going to be here for a while. How long is it supposed to be? How long do I have? I got till 6:32. Well, good, because we're going to be here for a while. Because today's topic is... it's a doozy. It's quite a topic, folks. Without further ado, I'm not even going to... Because usually I write a script for Public Opinion, give you all a background of what we're talking about before we get into the question. But no, we're just going to start it off just as is. Today's Public Opinion is why town people don't like a good morning. And this isn't... The question isn't do town people like to say good morning, because that's a given, they don't. But we're trying to find out why, yeah? What's the problem? Oh, you can't see me? Don't worry about that. But listen, here we go, right? Why don't town people like to say good morning? Is there a manners problem in the corporate area? Is there a manners problem in Kingston? That's what we're going to try and decipher. And the reason I decided to go with this, well, I say the newsroom decided to go with this is based off of a hefty debate that was taking place on social media quite recently. I'm not gonna call any handles or none of that. But yeah, it was a pretty big debate. There were town people saying, "Listen, man, we're not look friend. We don't need to tell nobody good morning." But the country people were like, "Nah, having manners is important and it's an imperative part of one's character." Anyways, that's what brought light to this question, and we decided to ask it to y'all. And I'm already seeing some answers in the YouTube chat. So that's good. We're off to a good start. But let's take a look at what people are saying on X. We got 4 comments, and if I read all of them, we start with Sphinx KG. Starts off saying it might be better to ask, why do some people in towns avoid saying good morning, which opens the discussion without assuming it's a universal behavior. Well, you're right. We shouldn't assume it's a universal behavior. But again, if I'm going off what I'm already seeing in the YouTube chat, I might be onto something, yeah? Oliver T says, naturally not town people are too cold to one another and prideful to not say good morning to anyone not in their close circle. Mr. Unpredictable says, this again? It's hard to say, but for some, you know what? Let me scratch that. Oh, come on, man. You can't tease us with an answer like that and not go with it. Oh, dear. Damian Meeks says, it's a classic case of nature versus nurture. Town people move fast, focused on the hustle, with values more aligned to big city life, more individualistic. Meanwhile, country folk are raised in tight-knit communities where greetings are a daily norm. Love that one. I think he's right. I think Damian Meeks is correct. But I'm not. Let me not make any more assumptions, as some people in the comments were saying. Let's just go straight to Instagram. We got 16 comments here. Uns News Network. Hi, Onisia. Uns News Network says, town, being Mauli aside, town people have no manners. Them no grow good. Oh, darn. Rebel Lady K says, why is this such a big deal? Not saying it says a lot about the person, so just move on. It's not that big a deal. Well, here's the thing, we had a couple town folks in our newsroom trying to argue this same case. Who is this? The Rebel Lady K. You're not alone in your thoughts of that. Yeah, there are a lot of people in our newsroom saying, actually, man, having manners ain't that deep. And they didn't literally say that, but they were saying, listen, man, I don't need to tell everybody good morning. It's not that important. But the country were like, what? They were recalling all the moments in their youth when people, when you'd walk past an elder, an older person, and not tell them good morning, and your parents would turn you right back and say, tell that person good morning and have manners. Yeah? I specifically remember I used to tell my mom good morning without saying mommy. I'd be like, good morning, and she'd be like, good morning who? And I had to go back and say, good morning, mommy. Yeah? So, yeah, country people take manners very seriously, as you should. Yeah. Jamaican snapshots say they are not polite. They do not practice common courtesy. Oh, jeez. Magnificent Myth says nationwide do I have nothing to ask. My goodness, that's not true. This is an imperative discussion. What? Come on, Magnificent Myth. It's a very important discussion. Yeah, it can't always be politics, especially not on a Friday. You're going to tell me not having manners isn't an issue of national importance? Come on, man. We keep going. Miggletoner says, because they think it's a personal commentary and not the wishful greeting of goodwill that it's supposed to be. Jay and Hayden 4 says, some of them think them better than others. Seafarer 78 says, because them have no manners. Lethal Man says, when in Rome, you do what the Romans do. So when I'm in town, I don't say good morning. That's a shame. Anyways, the YouTubers are chatting up a storm and I want to get in on it. So I'm going to go through the YouTube chat real quick. Someone still in the chat saying that I am Damian Crawford's offspring, despite me disproving it today on the E-Zone with Mr. Senator Damian Crawford himself. But I've accepted that that's just never going to end, yeah? Dennis Barnaby says, no manners, Mahiri. Juliet Sanchez says, Mahiri, it's not just town people. It's nowadays people that have no manners. Is that true? Are country folks getting exposed? Are they part of the problem, Juliet Sanchez? Is that what you're saying? Are country people part of the problem? Facts says, they don't say good morning because they still think it's night. All right. Well, as Mikkel says, they got glue on their lips. Baby Toy says, some of them think it's cute. Them talk like chaka chaka. Was this Annie? Mahiri, if I tell you once, twice, or thrice, you not hear me tell you again after you know more than me. Is that the town people mentality, Annie? Am I foreign to this way of life? It seems as though I am. I don't know, man. Even in schools, that's what another thing I brought up. I'm like, so you telling me they don't teach manners in schools then? Because even in schools, they gotta teach you how to have manners. They gotta teach you how to treat people. They teach you how to greet. You know, your teacher walks in, you greet the teacher, and they tell you, how are you, children? They be like, fine, thank you, and how are you, Basic common courtesies that you learn growing up. What else we have here? I see some people talking politics. Fret not, folks. There'll be plenty of time for that later. Paul Peart says, some have no manners. Oh, dear. Calvin Watson says, it's so true. If I never call my mother by a title, it'd be a problem with her. That's what I'm saying, Calvin. I couldn't just say good morning to my mother, I had to say good morning, mommy, or I'd have to do the whole process back over again. And yeah, man, you can't just say good morning to people. If you don't know their name, you have to say good morning, sir, good morning, miss. If you know their name, you say good morning, enter name here. Yeah, man, people take manners very seriously, and one can assume it's very important to take manners seriously. Yeah, manners is a way of life. It's social graces. Yeah. PB says Paul Peart lives in Kingston. Paul Peart, is that true? I'm not trying to dox you or nothing, but is this true? Do people from your ends not have manners as well? And are those ends Kingston? Tedris says they think living in town means that they are the pinnacle of human existence. They are so mistaken. Is that true? Folks, let's discuss that part. Is it arrogance? Do town people think that they've made it and that's why they go on with this holier than thou mentality of not greeting folks? Or is it much deeper than that? Are we looking at the smoke and mirrors here? Is there like a bigger picture to this that we're ignoring? It might be. Who knows, man? But this one's going pretty well. Maharishi. That's not how you spell my name, Annie. Maharishi. It's Mahiri. Especially nowadays, generation and species. So it seems to be a young people problem then. My bad. Or should I apologize on behalf of young people? I don't know. But is it a young people problem, chat? Is it just the young people that don't know how to have manners? Or do you see old people in town not having manners? Do you see old people in country not having manners? City Flex. Yeah? There's an island. Says City Flex. That's how city people behave too. Too busy for good morning. Every city is like that. David Nabar says, the problem with Jamaica is everything America do, they do. So are you saying we picked up not having manners from the Americans? He's saying we learned it from foreign? So many theories, man. And I'm loving all of them because all of them low-key hold weight. Why don't town people have manners, man? That's the question we're trying to answer. We got 2 minutes left. Let's try and unearth more theories because I love where this is going, man. Why do town people not have manners? What is it about a simple good morning that's just too much for them? Or is it wrong? Do town people actually have manners and we've just been painting them in a false light? Have we been defaming the character of town people? Are they going to send us a lawsuit for defaming them? I don't know, man. Oh, Annie. Oh, it was a mistake, Annie. You didn't mean to. Maharishi was a mistake. Okay. Leroy Rutty's is now calling me that now. So now everyone's going to call me Maharishi. Oh, dear. But yeah, man, we're going to wind down with public opinion. Travis360 says, those who don't say good morning have bad breath issues. There we have it, folks. Another theory. I feel so out of place not greeting people. I'm in the U.S. Army. When my uniform people open doors for me a mile away in New Jersey, mostly elders. All right, folks. So how many things did we come up with? Holier than thou mentality. They learned it from abroad. It's actually a problem for young people specifically. Like so many theories we came up with. Maharishi, give your daughter that name. No, they're going to make fun of her, Jenny. I'm not going to put my daughter through calling her that big old name. She probably won't even know how to spell that, unfortunately. But pop-up was fun today, guys. I enjoyed it. Like the stream, by the way. That's something I need to remind people to keep doing whenever I do public opinion. Make sure you like the video. I'm seeing 106 likes right now. But by the time I'm done reading the business report that's coming up next, hopefully we'll be at 200. Let's go.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:33. You're tuned into the Business Report right here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Mahiri Stewart. America's 3 Mile Island Energy Plant, the site of the worst nuclear accident in U.S. history, is preparing to reopen as Microsoft looks for ways to satisfy its growing energy needs. The tech giant said it had signed a 20-year deal to purchase power from the Pennsylvania plant, which would reopen in 2028 after improvements. The agreement is intended to provide the company with a clean source of energy as power-hungry data centers for artificial intelligence, AI, expand. The plan will now go to regulators for approval. The owner of the plant, Constellation Energy, said the reactor it planned to restart was next to, but fully independent of, the unit that had been involved in the 1979 accidents. It caused no injuries or deaths, but provoked widespread fear and mistrust among the U.S. public, discouraging the development of nuclear power in the U.S. for decades. However, there's renewed interest in nuclear as concerns about climate change grow and companies need more energy due to advances in artificial intelligence. Constellation Chief Executive Joe Dominguez told analysts on Friday that the deal was a powerful symbol of the rebirth of nuclear power as a clean and reliable energy source. Microsoft also called it a milestone in its efforts to help decarbonize the grid. And in the UK, a long-running measure of how consumers feel about their finances and the economy has fallen sharply, raising concerns that the government's warning that the budget will be painful has shaken people's confidence. Market research company GfK's Consumer Confidence Barometer has tumbled further into negative territory since the end of August. The index had been recovering after the years of the COVID pandemic. Rising prices and higher interest rates had dented the outlook for many. GfK says the latest measure did not provide encouraging news for the UK's new government, while some economists have linked the drop to Labour's downbeat rhetoric about the budget. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has said the budget on the 30th of October will be painful, with some taxes set to rise and spending cuts. Plans to means test winter fuel payments have already been announced, meaning that more than 9 million pensioners will no longer be eligible for up to £300 this winter. And finally, in the currency markets at the closing of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 65 cents to buy $1. It cost 204 Jamaican dollars and 29 cents to buy £1 British. And finally, it cost 114 Jamaican dollars and 54 cents to buy $1 Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Stay tuned.
Are you burning up with this summer heat? The place hot, man. Get cool now with a Hisense air conditioner. I feel good. With advanced energy-saving inverter technology and whisper quiet operation. Beat this heat with Hisense. Available at Aliabra Brands Limited, 64 Hagley Park Road, or call 876-676-5951 now.
So good. So good. I got you.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
You can have it all. Company events, birthday parties, or the wedding of your dreams. It's all possible at Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts. We have magnificent event rooms and a dedicated team that will make your event the best experience that only Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts can offer. Contact us at 876-619-0000 or call your favorite travel agency and ask about our promotion designed especially for you.
Elevate your knowledge in the world of healthcare and pharmaceuticals at the 39th Annual Pharmaceutical Conference. The innovative conference is back and better than ever under the theme Pharmacists, Trusted, Empowered, United for Action. Join Nationwide 90 FM from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Talk of Youth and a Design Studio from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on September 21 as we broadcast live from the Ocean Coral Springs in Trelawney. Join us for the most anticipated pharmaceutical conference of the year only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, Horton's Pharmacy, Town Center Pharmacy, Max Pharmaceuticals, Hughes Professional Pharmacy, Dean's Pharmacy, Beauty Institute, Portmore Mall Pharmacy, and Tate's Clarendon Pharmacy.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. It is 6:40 and time for the nation's business, and I'm Siobhan Campbell. I'll be joined by Mr. Brooks, who stepped away just briefly in a few seconds, and we are going to be talking about fertility. Fertility and policy experts are warning that Jamaica is on the brink of a crisis. This as the country's fertility rate is falling below replacement population level. According to the Jamaica Population Health Status Report for 2000 to 2022, the country continues to face a decreasing birth rate problem. The report says the total number of live births have declined sharply over the last 2 decades. In 2021, there were 31,276 live births in the country, and that's in comparative to 2010, where there were 40,508. And even further back in 2000, there was actually 56,134. Over the past 2 decades, Jamaica's crude birth rate declined by 10.2 percentage points. It moved from 21.7 births per 1,000 women in the population in 2000 to 11.4 births per 1,000 women in 2022. And in 2021, the country's fertility rate declined significantly to 1.9 births per female. This is coming from 4.5 births per female between 1973 and 1975. Internationally, the accepted fertility rate is 2.1. That means 2 births to each woman. Policy experts say the falling fertility rate may soon start to affect the country's economy. And for more, we're being joined by consultant obstetrician, gynecologist, and fertility specialist Hugh Winter, who is from the Institute for Reproductive Health and Endoscopic Surgery, Dr. Loxley Christie, and the chairman of the Economic Affairs and Taxation Committee for the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, that's Keith Collister. Good afternoon, or good evening rather.
Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. Are you there, Mr. Winter?
No, not hearing you.
Oh, it's the Hugh Winter. My apologies. Dr. Loxley, are you there, sir? And Mr.
am
Hollister. Mr. Collister, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good evening to both. So, let's start with you, Dr. Christie, to explain the situation to us, the problem that we could potentially be facing. I know you hear of the kind of population crises in places such as Japan and South Korea, but explain where, in comparative to those declining populations in those countries, where does Jamaica fall?
All right, that's a really good place to start. Because, yes, we have fallen below the replacement value. As you said, 2.1. And that's the basis of deriving that number, is that if one man, one woman form a couple, for them to replace those two people, then that couple would have to have two children. The reality is we're going to have deaths because of illness, we're going to have migration, we're going to have other factors. So therefore, if it was exactly at 2.0, then we're going to fall below. So, and the number 2.1 was derived internationally. Not sure if that's necessarily the best number. We may be undershooting it a little bit, but ideally, that 0.1 would account for those losses. Mm-hmm. Now, Jamaica has fallen to 1.9 in the last for 2022. That's the point in time of the survey. So yes, so it's below the value, and that is of significant concern. If you think of it, a child born today is not going to enter the workforce for another 18 years. So even though the number has fallen below now, the projection, if we continue along this line, is that we will not be able to have a workforce in the near future. But where do we rank? If you look at our Caribbean neighbors, we're actually above several of our Caribbean neighbors. So Trinidad is about 1.66, Barbados in a similar type of region. And I believe more than 80% of the Caribbean is below the replacement rate. Mm-hmm. But if you look internationally, you have USA, where it's tending to 1. You have, I think the lowest in the world right now is South Korea, where it's 0.78. So those places have the genuine crisis facing them now. So our intent from the Hugh Winter Institute is to say, listen, we don't want to wait until we've fallen to that rate for us to bring the power players to the table so we can sit and plan in a organized manner a system that will work for our region. Because what's going to work in the USA is not going to work here.
Right. And Dr. Christie, when you sit to conduct that planning, I imagine you are assessing also the reasons for the declining rate. What are some of those reasons you're finding?
So some of it is just strictly medical. Some of it is sociological. So from a sociological standpoint, it's much more expensive to raise children. So the economics of it all will dictate that you have smaller couples, smaller families. Mm-hmm. One of the very significant factors is the changing role of our genders. So in 1948, for example, when the university opened its doors, approximately 2/3 of the people who entered university were males. In about the early 1980s, 82, 83, it was about 50-50. But right now, in the Faculty of Medical Sciences and Faculty of Law, it's about 75% women. So the pendulum has switched completely. Once you increase education, then family size tends to fall. These are also long courses which spawn careers which involve quite often intensive amount of time and work put in. And many of our women are just changing their views to this, okay, I need to get married by 20 and have 3-4 children by the time I'm 25. So, again, that's another significant factor. Just the way how people view families. That compass has changed a bit also. The need for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children isn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. From a medical standpoint, there are also significant indicators to suggest that fertility rates are falling. And that's for both men, and I need that to be clear. If it's one thing I get clear before I leave here, it's for both men and women. So we all need to talk.
And Keith Collister, certainly from where you sit, that is also a problem for the economic and business community, because where will you find the workers, as Dr. Christie says, in the next 20 years?
Well, it's a very good point. We several decades ago, the Planning Institute of Jamaica said we were going to reach a demographic peak in terms of the demographic dividend, which means...
I'm sorry, Mr. Collister, we're having a little difficulty hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, just a little bit, yes.
Okay. Several decades ago, the Planning Institute said we would meet our demographic peak in the 2020s, and which is where you have your demographic dividend, which is basically... can you hear me?
Yes,
we're hearing you.
Yeah, which is basically how you... the maximum, when you're at your maximum workforce to the size of your general population. So what has happened is that we reached our sort of demographic dividend period, but we haven't managed to take full advantage of that, unlike some other countries which have managed to achieve much faster economic growth. So we're getting old. Or we're not quite there yet. We're not like China and so on, but we're getting old before we get rich, or we're on the verge of getting older before we get rich. So we really need to focus on how to improve productivity, to how to make it more attractive to retain the workforce we have, in particular the skilled workforce. Because one of the problems we have is that there's a huge brain drain. So it's not only that we're now falling below the replacement rate, but I think the figures are something like 20,000 migrate. I mean, it varies on a yearly basis, but it's been very consistent over the past, 40, more than 40 years, that we've always lost people on a net basis. So basically, we've got choices to make. We need to make sure that we try to maximize the labor force that we do have here in terms of their skills and education. But we also need to see how we can ensure that they also become more productive, because that's going to be where things are going to go. That the whole world has that same problem, but we're not even productive. So we need to get focus on that like a laser. And on top of that, we need to create. We need to adopt technology as that's part of the whole productivity. But we need to also find ways to retain those skilled labor force, which we've been losing consistently over time,
and
change that paradigm.
And that's an interesting point you raised, Mr. Collister, because this problem of declining birth rates tends to be one that's faced mostly in very developed, highly developed countries, which then can essentially count on immigration, as in being the destination for migrant workers to come and fill many of the gaps that would be opened up for those people in terms of the population not being able to sustain itself economically. But Jamaica is in an interesting position where we're reaching that fertility issue while still being predominantly a source area for migration rather than a destination.
You're exactly right. And we may need to think about how we think about migration as well, because we might be in a strange situation where we need to make it easier for people to come from overseas because we lose so many through emigration. Mm-hmm. So I think Jamaica needs to think about the choices that we have now, which is, can we improve productivity, technology adoption? Can we make it more attractive to retain our skilled labor force? And do we need to do things on the child care and other fronts more in the way of developed countries have been doing, rather than rely so much on the family?
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few. There are policy interventions which you can also do to sort of reduce these trends. But the truth is, developed countries and so on have been trying to do this, and it hasn't really worked very overseas. So there's no particular reason to believe that women are going to start to want to have more kids, because for exactly the reasons that the good doctor mentioned. There's longer work, courses, working hours, all the rest of it, expensive, the expense. So even if we make some changes at the margin, it may not be that effective. So we do need to think holistically about this issue.
Dr. Christie, I want to take you back to the sociological point you made, because when I discuss with my more conservative friends, I relate to them that this is happening. They say, but this is a predictable consequence of, and they say it very controversially, of us, as you said, flipping gender roles. And that what we're seeing now is a predictable consequence of that, and perhaps what we need to do is return to a traditional notion of what family life should be. Is that something that you think should be explored?
Well, absolutely. We think that it should be explored, but we need to be careful. We need to move with the times. To suggest that we move back to a time when women aren't allowed to take their rightful place in society would be dangerous. I would say would definitely be very dangerous. But let's look at the policies. One of the things that we did this week, on Tuesday, we had a roundtable talk, and we had leaders in the various spheres. So we had Mr. Williams from the PIOJ, we had Professor Karen Carpenter, sexologist, we had an epidemiologist, Prof. McCall Binns, and we were just looking at some of these same factors. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, one of the problems that women face in the work world is that the reality is their mom, they are managers or employees or whatever, they have to work, they study, they have to raise children. Now we could go back to the good old traditional days when man just came in and sat down on the couch and waited for dinner and stuff. No, we have to look at how we raise our children. We have to look at how we raise our boys. It has to be more equitable in terms of division of labor, in terms of raising children. We have to be able to raise our kids, our boys. Quite often a lot of the burden is placed on the female and starts in school. So can we design educational programs to educate all children, male and female, of the changing needs of society? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Can we look from a policy level? Okay, women get maternity leave. Thank God men have been granted paternity leave so that we can share some of that initial burden. But those burdens need to continue. So women go to work, or parents go to work. Can we have facilities whereby there is daycare or incentives for certain schools or whatever facilities in place to allow for daycare so that people can continue to work? Maybe then it wouldn't be such a drain.
May I interrupt for a second, Dr. Christie? Because
sure.
What you're describing sounds like a sort of expansive reorganization and social engineering of how we operate now. And I'm wondering to myself, as I listen to you, I agree that those things may well be necessary. But who leads that charge? Is that something government takes on? How do we ensure that is jumpstart and then followed through?
Absolutely. The government, the policymakers. And that's going to be any government of the day. So this is not a political agenda. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of how do we look in the long term at programs that will facilitate good, healthy households where you can raise your children. In a country where your children want to stay and contribute, do we need to look at our educational system so that we can design a lot of, just simply put, a lot of our younger people will migrate because Jamaica may not offer a particular program. So perhaps we just need to start offering that program. We need to look at our businesses, and that's where people like the PIOJ come in. Where do we need to spend the limited resources that we have to make Jamaica a better place? Who's going to dictate that? The policymakers. But the policymakers are going to have to rely on the health sector. What are the needs that are there for us to raise our fertility rate? So, for example, women are entering childhood later. If you enter childhood later, your chances of success are less. It becomes more expensive. Are there things that we can do to incentivize having children? Medical insurance doesn't give you an awful lot of coverage for pregnancy, for infertility treatment. Can we lobby the insurance companies? Can we lobby the Ministry of Education to put programs into place? How do we impact on our medical school to ensure that our doctors are able to recognize infertility earlier and treat it so that it doesn't require expensive input? So our approach is, yes, it's a bit of a 360 approach. Let's sit down at the table. Let's see where we can draw from areas of expertise and come up with a plan that fits our financial situation. What works for the U.S. is not going to work for Jamaica. U.S. can afford to import immigrants. We can't afford to import our way out of this possible crisis with employment.
And Keith Collister, considering what Dr. Christie has said, and I mean, you cannot get around the fact that as a career woman, pregnancy is a hindrance. It's simply not avoidable in the grand scheme of, you get only certain amount of time for maternity leave, and anything after that comes
perhaps
out.
that's what Dr. Christie is saying. The business leaders need to start changing how they view it.
So would there be an interest on the business community's side to essentially expand I won't say maternity benefits, let's just call it family benefits, in order to facilitate an increase in fertility?
I would see the business community as, at least some of them, as receptive to these issues, because it used to be that you never heard people saying that there was a shortage of labor in Jamaica. It was decades of, there's not enough jobs. So for the first time, the last couple of years since COVID, you've heard that. And even though the economy looks a little slower at the moment, or even flattish, you're still hearing that people there's a shortage of labor. So I would think that this is a good time and of course, what really needs to happen is that there needs to be policy advocacy by the business community and others to the powers that be, the policymakers, to say we need to take some measures in this direction. So it's much better if you have leadership from the government, but informed by feedback from private sector and other institutions, in my view.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and of course, it's an important issue that we'll need to continue to watch, and perhaps we need to hear from some gender specialists, women's rights activists, how they see this matter. Because you're right when you say that traditionally, that's how pregnancy has been viewed. And when you talk to women, especially young women, they'll tell you it's just not a priority right now.
I mean, it's an unavoidable factor of any business place. If you have a woman who has to take months out of a year to take care of what is their reproductive right, it becomes a drain on the resources of the business that they then have to make up somehow. That's why, let's face it, why a lot of the time men tend to get promoted over women. It's not fair. I won't suggest it's a fair thing to happen, but it happens as a result of pregnancy becoming a hindrance, and it essentially gets put off by women till they're older and feel they can be more financially stable and managing it.
And which is why I think Dr. Christie is calling for that sort of what I'm calling a re-engineering and a rethinking about what you call family benefits and broad reproductive rights. Because unless we do that, and unless we do that and change the model you're describing that exists in the status quo, then I suspect that these rates will continue to fall.
And I recall being laughed out of a room once when I said, why not just simply equalize paternity and maternity leave?
Yeah, I'd have laughed you out too. It's 3 minutes after 7. Let's take the break.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
We a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can't see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Go get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot. It's a big deal. Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC, big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Choose your life insurance coverage, apply, and pay online. Live the e-life with Sagicor Life. The time by Sagicor Life is
4 minutes after 7.
You want to play all your favorite Supreme Ventures games like Cashpot and Lotto in a one place? Plus Bet Pon Sports with Just Bet and horse racing with MBet? Come take a step in at the new SV Games app. All of the games you love in a one place. Step in and play all your numbers. Bet Pon all your sports and get enough chances to win in the only gaming app you need. SV Games from Supreme Ventures. Visit supremegames.com to download the SV Games app. More ways to bet, more ways to win at your fingertips. Must be 18 years or older to play.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks, he's Siobhan Campbell. And last night, I don't know if you watched, you probably didn't watch, because you're a little Trump, you're a little Trumper. Last night, listeners, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, she sat down with television host Oprah Winfrey for a virtual rally that included a wide-ranging sit-down conversation. Harris used the opportunity to attack her opponent's stance on reproductive rights, and she pledged to sign a border security bill thwarted by Senate Republicans. And what I liked about the event, Siobhan, did you watch it?
No.
Of course you didn't.
Unlike us sitting at home sick in Ricardo Brooks, I was here doing your work.
You could have watched it after. What I liked about it was that, there was sort of a flex of, star power to show that she had very prominent names backing her. And there were really some emotional moments where, especially women who have been affected by the abortion bans, they told their stories, there was crying, and a sort of opportunity for her to connect on a very personal level. Victims of gun violence were also present, appealing for reform in that area. So I thought, all in all, it was good. Yeah, Tracy Ellis Ross, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lopez, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller. It was star-studded. I don't know. Your guy now pulling a crowd. Let's play you some highlights from Guardian News.
Please welcome Kamala Harris! Is in the house. Where are you, Jennifer? Yes!
You know, there's so much at stake in this election, and ultimately the question before us is what kind of country do we want to live in? This again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems?
Now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected president of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law. And Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. And Amber's story highlights the fact that among everything that is wrong with these bans and what has happened in terms of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's a healthcare crisis. It's a healthcare crisis that affects the patient and the profession.
Because it was a terrible thing, and it should not have. What's it called?
Where were you shot? Where were you
I was
physically shot?
Right here on my shoulder, and then around here.
I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. I've seen what these weapons do to the human body. And we've got to agree that, in particular when we're talking about something like an assault weapon, it's literally designed to be a tool of war. It has no place on the streets of a civil society. It's designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly.
So, there are some excerpts there from the Vice President, her virtual rally, you could call it that, and sit down with Oprah.
Explain to me, Mr. Brooks.
I'm going to explain that to you, Siobhan.
Maybe I have a misunderstanding of the democratic process in the United States. She's going to make sure that the bill,
cut in, Mike.
She's going to make sure that the bill goes to her desk and she signs it. It doesn't have a process that it normally goes through. I'm just trying to clarify how this works.
As you know, the U.S. president has a role in the legislative process. They can propose bills to the Congress. They can use the power and prestige of the office, the moral suasion of the presidency, to encourage lawmakers to get bills through the Congress. And so when it gets to her desk, she will sign it into law. Why you not ask Trump?
No, she said that she will get it.
Why you not ask Trump for his plans?
She will get it to her desk. I just want to know, how does she plan to ensure that it gets to her desk? As in, it is guaranteed that it will be on her desk.
All he has are concepts of a plan. I answered your question. It's 11 minutes after 7.
You evaded my question.
It's 11 minutes after 7. We're going to take your calls. 630-9371 to 618-8255. Come and tell Siobhan that Trump now win.
Don't miss Info Exchange's Business Cloud Forum, October 1 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Global technology leaders, Nutanix, IBM, HPE Aruba, Zerto, and Exagrid will be here sharing insights and live demos. Discover how AI is reshaping industries and increasing efficiencies. Learn proven technologies to build operational resilience and protect your business from disruption. Register now at infoexchangeja.com. Info Exchange, smart technology, better business.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich. Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're taking your calls now. You know the numbers, 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Richie, you're up first. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks.
How are you, sir?
Good evening, Richie.
Marshaban.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the end of Mr. Gordon's speech yesterday when he called for the Prime Minister to resign and step aside. As I said, he ended up it. And he said there's a narrative out there that the Inter Commission is allied to the PNP party. And it's not true, but it is true. And this is my proof. Peter Bunting and Bobby Manchester were Baba Security.
Not hearing you,
I
Richie.
can hear what you're saying.
I'm saying Peter Bunting and Bobby Manchester were former secretary ministers. And there was allegation against them.
I recall, yes.
And they care Peter Bunting. And until now, they don't care Bobby Manchester. That gives me a firm belief that they are aligned to the PNP party.
Richie, you keep citing that example, and every time you cite that example, we offer you the same response.
Yes.
Mr. Bunting got his attorneys to intervene on his behalf. And based on their intervention, the commission decided to, let's say, amend,
make some adjustments to
adjust, right, their findings. I do not know, and I have not been told, and maybe Siobhan can correct me if he recalls, if Robert Montague did the same thing. I don't remember that happening. Right, I don't remember that happening. So Mr. Montague is free to engage an attorney to press his case if he believes that he has been wronged. So I don't think that example is proof that the Integrity Commission is biased in favor of the PNP.
But the point you're making is that you don't know. That's what you're saying now.
You know, I am saying I don't know that he did the same thing. Right, but without that knowledge, you can then conclude that is.
But at the end of it, one experience was like three, so you say you don't know.
Yes, but I told you why one happened. Yes.
But Bobby, if you don't make the representation, you can't expect to have the same outcome. It's as simple as that. If you don't make the same level of representation, you can't expect to have the same level of outcome.
Because they're saying that he doesn't know. So until you prove, then you can prove that to me. But I'm saying now, what they are saying about the Prime Minister now is just to keep the Prime Minister in the dark until after election to score some political points. That's my point. But I agree with the G2K to call for to clear the Prime Minister's name. And if they doesn't say it, I would love for them to lead a demonstration to the so-called Inter Commission office.
Absolutely not. No, Richie, no.
Why not?
Do not be encouraging anybody to lead any demonstration on the office of the commission. No.
Why not?
No, because that is improper. What are you going there to protest?
I'm saying they're calling them to clear the Prime Minister's name.
Yes.
And if they do something, that is that thing they need to do if there is something.
No.
And I think you're conflating two separate. This is not about the Prime Minister's name, This is about the certification of his statutory declarations.
Exactly.
So I realize the political benefit of having that certification, but as I understand it, beyond the political benefit of having that certification, it's not a mark against the Prime Minister.
We're not endorsing your call for any march on the Integrity Commission.
You're not endorsing it?
No.
Suppose I say no. The Prime Minister should write a letter to the GG to intervene. What would it say about that?
That would also be improper.
To whom? The GG?
Yes, to the GG.
Why?
Because the Governor General has no such power in law.
He doesn't have it?
No. What would he be intervening in?
So what is going to happen? He will cut his with that.
The Prime Minister may seek judicial review.
In what sense?
that he may take the matter to court for an order of judicial review. You can advocate for that. Yes.
But I don't think the Prime Minister can have the certification judicially reviewed, though.
Whatever. If it is that Richard believes he's being wronged in some way, which I think is what he's saying,
yes.
Then if there is a wrong or some kind of prejudice, then he can take that to court.
Well, I'm glad that you said, because I mean, if I didn't say what
But be clear, I am not agreeing with you that there is such a thing. I'm saying, but if you believe so and you want him to have some kind of remedy, that I think would be the more appropriate remedy. Not a march and not to call on the GG to intervene.
I'm saying no. If I didn't say what I said, I wouldn't have I didn't know what needs to be done.
So I see. Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
But I think something needs to be done.
Okay.
Because
all right.
There's no charge against the Prime Minister, and they need to pay his bill.
Yeah. I think I heard Clive Mullings this morning making a case about what he saw as, some certain prejudicial, the way the matter has been handled, he thought could give rise to the issue of prejudice. And so something like that could be judicially reviewed, So, yeah, the Prime Minister has options, man, outside of us, telling people to go march on the commission.
No, listen me carefully. If I didn't say what I said, you wouldn't tell me what is to be done.
Oh, I see.
Because
Okay.
I know something needs to be done.
Must be done. All right, fine.
Must be done.
All right. All right, Richie.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
many people have made this mistake. The Prime Minister has not been charged with anything.
No.
He's not facing any criminal charge. And what would be judicially reviewed is the Integrity Commission's decision to send it for referral to the FID, which is about as close to any criminal or any legal action that could have been taken against the Prime Minister. In terms of their certification, it is solely up to the Integrity Commission to be satisfied on that matter. And it does not rise beyond that. Their satisfaction that they can certify the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. There is no penalties to derive from it. There is no charge to derive from that lack of certification. The only thing here that can be judicially reviewed is sending that document to the FID for further investigation.
You know what else makes me uncomfortable? There's so many details about the Prime Minister's financial arrangements which have been put in the public domain. And then there is no definitive conclusion
on any of them.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That strikes me as at least improper. And it's information that I don't think the public has a right.
The word
to.
I used was untidy.
Yeah, I could adopt that.
Especially without, as I said, it's untidy, especially without finality.
Precisely. Exactly. That's it. So if there was some kind of final conclusion and a recommendation, I could see my way past it. But there isn't. And you sort of just put this information out there about the man's personal affairs. I don't know. Seems improper to me. But let's 630-937-124-618-8255. Madge?
Hi, good night.
Hey,
how
Madge.
are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Siobhan and Ricardo.
Hi.
Question. I am so disappointed in my people and the journalists of this country.
Why, Madge? We're trying, man. We're trying.
Place, This report that this forensic accountant did, why wasn't it tabled in Parliament?
Excellent question.
I think that is a missing part of this puzzle, because that report, number one, I think we really should see even receipt wire transfer, how much money was paid to those people. Did we get value for money? Because why is it that the FID and the TAG have to be doing over what this accountant should have done? I don't know. I just think that we're looking in the wrong place, putting energy on the wrong thing. We should demand this from the IC. Everybody trying to find out.
And I want to understand what exactly did they do?
Prime Minister tell the country this, and that we were not really, we passed there, so no. We need to know what is in the report.
Yeah.
We need to know if IC is making trouble. We just need to know. Why is it that the FID and the TG...
I agree, and I would go further. Business. So I agree with you. I
think that is a missing. That is what we should be demanding from the IC. We need to see that report. We need to know if you are making trouble. We need to know if you get value for money. We need to know.
Yeah.
And it
remains... We need to know, and that is what we as Jamaicans, you guys as journalists, If the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister people, why is nobody asking for that report? You don't find it suspicious it wasn't tabled?
Well, Madge, you see how the Integrity Commission operates. There are certain things that even we can't forcefully ask for from the Integrity Commission.
Well, to me, the IC then need to table that report. Yeah. They need to table it and make sure that... Don't be surprised if you don't hear that leak, Don't be surprised. And I will advise them to table that.
I would support that,
That is the
Madge.
missing part of the puzzle.
I would support that.
Ricardo, is the Integrity
That's
Commission
my
subject...
Thanks for the call.
And again, the
Sorry,
Jamaica PMP, what's the General Secretary name? Dayton Campbell?
Dr. Dayton Campbell.
They need to get a good marketing person. You can't ask us, you can't tell the country that there's a no confidence vote and you think majority of the country, you think we're going to choose Mark Golding over Prime Minister Andrew Holness where the truth is concerned? Who tell lie from who tell truth? Come on, man, get a proper marketing person.
All right. All right, Matt.
And as the lady said, Ricardo, because I read through that report and I'm still uncertain as to what exactly was the work, as in the finality of the work of the forensic auditor. It doesn't seem to have been essentially placed in the report itself. And I kept looking through to say, so what was their conclusion? Or is it just a basis of they looked into the accounts, told the Integrity Commission what they believed was there, and just left it at that? And we have no further information in regards to what was the actual undertaking of that international forensic auditor.
We should try to get the report.
And then I now ask, is the Integrity Commission accountable to the Access to Information Act?
Well, something we're going to put to the test. Yeah. 630-937-124-618-8255. I'd find it'd be very difficult to see how an integrity body would
I don't know if that's ever been tried.
Well, it's time to put it to the test.
Marlo, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Ricardo.
Hey, Omalo.
The IC to me come like a old house with new paint. It's like when we had the contractor general sending reports to the DPP. She rejects them. You keep making a lot of noise and all of these stuff. Sending report to the DPP, he rejects it. It's the same thing. We just recycle it and bring it back in a different way and a different name. Really, it serves no real purpose. And we are getting the same results that we used to get. Greg Christie talk a lot and them thing and send down report and it's shut down on these things. And the only thing they speak about is what Greg Christie used to say. And we are doing the same thing at this point.
But that was the mischief that the Integrity Commission was created to solve. You have the...
Certainly the gag clause was put in place to remedy what people saw as a mischief there, yes.
And you have the creation of the Department for Investigations, the Department for Prosecutions,
right.
and one for filtering concerns and complaints. It was supposed to be all in one shop.
All we did just say, okay, let's go through the director of prosecution before we reach the DPP, but it's going to shut down. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's an embarrassment to the country.
I don't think.
No, the way how it is structured, it is a waste of time and an embarrassment to Jamaica. How can you put out a report without any conclusion and have the Jamaican people speculating? One of the things that they may use to determine the head of state, and it's on speculation.
The head of the government.
And
Yeah,
and
what?
the
Right,
head of
so...
the government, and we are here not looking at this very seriously.
Right, so that's the point we're making, that there should have been some finality before you put that information out there. Yeah.
And that is why we are saying the structure of this institution is really rotten, and it needs to change. It needs to change.
Well,
we cannot have
the people who can...
where they put up, they leave us. They sit with all the evidence. They didn't give us what they were looking on. They never put that out there. They just write a report. They wrote this report, they put it out, and we are here speculating on the report. Then we have the opposition saying, we must vote them out based on we speculating.
No, but hold on. But remember, there are conclusions in the report. Let's be clear on that. I gather you're saying that you, on certain substantive matters, You would have rather the director of
Let's stay on the
investigation.
substantive matter, what we are speculating, because we are speculating, and there's a reason why we are doing it.
Okay. Okay, so the areas that are unanswered. Okay. All right.
Yeah? Why would you give the country, after 3 years, we give you a duty to do, and the duty come back to us, yeah, giving us in which court, in where in the system would this stand up as something that we have a credible institution? We don't have a credible. You say if we as a people don't start ask the right questions, them, and start stand up behind our standard. If our standard is as low as to be in sensationalism, we're not going anywhere. You know? We're really not going anywhere. We're not going not aware. This is my advice to Parliament. When the director of investigation, investigate, their report and everything that they write supposed to go to the director of prosecution, and she must give a conclusion. The conclusion must come from the director of prosecution, not from nowhere else. A conclusion must come from there, and that is where, not from nowhere else.
So you would remove.
So you want to hear about no open. If you have an open case, continue investigating.
So you would remove the commission's authority or power to refer or seek out assistance from other agencies.
They're free to seek what they're seeking, but before you do that if you're investigating. But what we're saying, you don't put something out and then tell us you're going to seek something.
Oh, so you seek the assistance when you're investigating and then form a conclusion.
And come to a conclusion. Jamaicans need conclusion. Jamaicans doesn't need to be speculating and then talking about from this we are going to choose the head of government. We cannot do that. This is a joke.
All right, Omalo.
This is a joke, a real joke.
Hear you, my brother.
If you all don't see no problem with this, based on people talking about, it's like a PMP, JLP thing. It's nothing about Jamaica. This is about who can get power by what means. This has nothing to do with Jamaica no more.
All right, Omalo. Thanks for the call. Cleveland, good evening.
Good evening to you both.
Evening, Cleveland.
How is my friend Saeed?
Saeed?
Get over son.
Yes, man. Saeed is well, very well.
Okay. I just hear telling Amala that there is a conclusion. What's the conclusion come from the IC?
There are several conclusions, man. There's a whole page.
Several?
Yes. There's a whole page.
Even though they said the different investigation don't find anything unusual.
Right, they said that they can't conclude. So you have to make a distinction. So on some of the issues that we would want a definitive answer, there's none. So they couldn't conclude that there was illicit enrichment. The situation regarding the
4 bank accounts.
The 4 bank. Well, that was handled because the director said.
Well, that one come to
the bond.
The bond, right? The tax situation with the companies. So yes.
Let me tell you something. I say. And I hear you telling Richie that it's improper to, when Richie suggests that you go to the IC and about them and say
that sort of thing. Let me tell you why I say.
But
I see somebody asking me if it couldn't be a peaceful protest. I don't know that I'd want to encourage that kind of.
But it's improper.
Because it could seem like you're trying to intimidate. It could seem like you're trying to intimidate them. Say that again, Cleveland?
I say it's improper for what they're doing to the Prime Minister. And if you notice, the PMP especially, they're going from one something to the other. If one don't stick, they go to another one. You see? Now I think the one they're having is that him telling a lie that he didn't know before of the names, and that if they were investigating him. You see? I noticed Miss Archer on TV the other night almost crying and ready to even cuss. She gets so upset, and that's the one she keep talking about. or him tell a lie. You see? But it's unfair how they're treating the Prime Minister, though, you know.
Well,
really unfair.
Cleveland,
really unfair.
The ultimate decider, the ultimate jury will be the Jamaican people. In an
because
election.
how would we would believe anything coming from them now about Mr. Holness? Because there's so much different things that come and they said they have the investigation and there's not much there.
The irony, though, Ricardo, is that if this was an actual jury, they would have probably thrown the matter out for jury tampering at this point. We'd have got another cartel
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You tell me that we must believe anything else they come with from that place, eh? We must
Let me ask a question.
Else they come
Let me ask
with.
you something, Cleveland, because I've been wondering about this. If the present occupants of the offices at the Integrity Commission were changed, would you still have that view of the organization? That you
Go
can't-
again. Say it again.
If we should change the persons who now hold office at the Integrity Commission, would you still have the view that the
But they
institution
have to
cannot be
clean out
trusted?
everybody there, you know.
Oh, everybody would have to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes, because I mean these places are important to the country, you know.
Mhm.
We're not saying that they're not important.
Okay.
But man, the walla in the politics, I don't know what the PMP do for them so that them
Cleveland, I don't agree with that. You know. I
Why?
don't see no evidence that
Why?
there is any collusion
Ricardo,
with the
you can't
PMP.
always say that. I know and I understand that. I understand that.
No, it's not. I'm not just saying it for saying it's sake. I
Can a
genuinely
place be
don't
so
see
wicked to
evidence
one
of that.
man? Eh?
Say again?
Can a place be so wicked to one person?
Wouldn't you
Gosh,
suggest,
man.
Cleveland,
No,
that
sir.
considering the office, it requires higher scrutiny than any
sir.
other?
No.
You don't believe so?
But tell the PMP that they can go and call for him to go tell them I blue or wherever you. And just go and keep calling. So we are the people going to make the decision. See? But I think it's unfair to do Mr. Holness what they're doing to him.
All I would say,
Unfair.
Cleveland, I would not want to subject myself to that level of scrutiny in any status that I would hold.
And they're almost trying him over again.
To me, to shine a spotlight on me like that would make me cringe away in any position someone asked me to take up. I would say, nope, I'm not putting myself through that.
The forensic person come, spend so much money for him to be here and him don't find no fault. And yet they don't lay that.
But that's the
They
thing. We
bring
don't
that out in the
know
public.
what was the conclusion of the forensic auditor. That is completely missing from the report. If there even was a conclusion from the forensic auditor, what we have is the conclusion of Mr. Stevenson and the commissioners.
Why? So why
That's
they
what we'd
spend
like
so
to
much
know.
money to bring him here and hide in what in conclusion him come to? No, sir. I don't know.
All right, Cleveland.
No. All right.
Carl.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Trevor.
Good evening, Kyle.
I heard the Loose Canyon this evening say if he could have move a motion to sanction Prime Minister.
So you heard Dr. Dayton Campbell.
And when I heard him,
You know, can we call the General Secretary by his name, Carl? Can we at least be
all right,
respectful?
Dayton Campbell.
Yes,
then.
yes.
Dayton Campbell.
Yeah.
I heard him this evening. I seem to think how they did deal with Peter Phillips and Joe Cannon come with a line Wolper Kaba argument. In British citizens that are golden get an opportunity Sunday to show say him.
Mr. Golding has renounced his British citizenship, he says.
Well, you don't have no proof of that. You keep quiet, liquor. Hello?
Yes, Carl.
Go ahead,
You don't
Carl.
have a proof of that. So you keep quiet, liquor. And I will say that to you, say keep quiet.
Yes, sir, Carl.
You know something that I don't, that I should keep quiet? Why I should keep quiet?
You say, you not come to me with that type of argument. You keep yourself very quiet there.
How much shares you own in a nationwide news?
Anyhow, I want to ask you.
You talk like you own the radio station.
I want to ask you. A person who want to leave Jamaica.
Yes.
Say him doesn't have a house in Jamaica. All of him funds then put up in a trust.
Did he say that?
I don't recall it.
Did Mr. Golding say that?
And what do you draw the conclusion? He does not have
said
a
the
house
last
here.
time when time in decoration did release. And he did have a place somewhere in Portland. I think he sold it. I think somewhere one and in a Constant Spring or Red Hills Road. Somewhere there. And he also sold it.
Did he say he doesn't have a house? That's what I asked you.
Right, and he said he doesn't have a house in Jamaica.
So where him live, Carl?
Okay.
Where does Mr. Golding's family...
Thank you.
Carl, move on. Move on to something else. What's the next point?
Very nice question.
What's the next point? What is the next point?
Anyhow, I heard Golding also yesterday saying that the Prime Minister must step aside or call an election.
Yes.
Golding, if Andrew call an election tomorrow morning, he will still be opposition leader. That will make it 4 living opposition leader in a Jamaica in IPMP.
But Mr. Golding would tell you that he got more votes than your party in February.
Well, if he feels so, anytime Andrew call it, we shall see. You think Jamaica people, Tyrone, let me tell you something. You know
Ricardo.
A lot of person doesn't vote in a local government election. Instead, they don't have no time for that.
Then by that logic, that means some more PMP will come out, man.
Okay. But this general election will be a different election.
Okay.
And you remember one bad-minded man named Peter Philip?
Dr. Peter, I don't know. Carl.
All right, Peter Phillips.
No, Dr. Peter Phillips. Can you be
I'm
respectful?
not giving him no doctor.
No, he has a doctorate. He has a PhD.
People say Dr. Andrew Michael Holy.
People have accorded the Prime Minister the style he deserves based on his doctorate in law and policy.
Dr. Peter Phillips.
Yes, thank you.
MOU left upper camp. 2 of them when nobody else never know about. How that sound for his signature?
Carl.
Yes, please.
If you can't make an argument and be respectful, it don't make no sense. It don't make
no
sense.
All right.
Because let me say this. Let me say this to you. If the arguments you are making when you come here in the evenings is intended to boost your party, you're going to need the people in the middle as well. You can't just talk to the liberate them. I'm sure you want somebody to come with them, come over on your side. So disrespecting members of the People's National Party is not going to advance your argument. You have to get the people in the middle too.
So, hold on.
And the people in the middle, they like the cascas and the baga.
So hold on, Ricardo. When Omar did go up a Meadowbrook, until we run with it, until we say, no, that we reach, we have to correct it.
That's a substantive argument there. But when you say bad mind Peter Phillips, that's not substantive. You just name calling.
Well, I know. When the man couldn't touch a button, Ricardo, and know where Andrew borrowed the money from to build the house. And every Sunday morning.
We're going to leave you now. We're going to leave you now, Carl. Later. Dwayne, good evening. Dwayne, you have the radio on. 630-937-124-618-8255. You found the declarations of Mr. Golding?
Yeah, so I decided to pull up Mr. Golding's declarations for the last year. And on the assets, it says he has 10 million Jamaican dollars in a savings account, current account of 3.6 million, securities of 109 million, real estate 0 Jamaican dollars estimated market value at time of transport, and current valuation of property $0. Other personal property 1.15 million, real estate mortgages $0, receivables 7.5 million, and business investments of 25 million, automobiles of 10 million, and a cash value insurance of 5.7 million, for a total assets of $163,305,824.32. Those are his Jamaican holdings. So, yes, according to this, he has no real estate or property.
Oh, must be name wife name then. Or member of his family, perhaps. Who done it?
Hi, good evening.
This is Who Done It from
what's
YouTube?
up? Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Good
You
evening.
guys, I've called a long time, so I'm just to let me try and put in a little piece of contribution here.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Siobhan.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, man, good evening.
This is Who Done It from
Yes,
chat, right? Yes.
I just asked him.
It
Are
is.
you paying attention? I literally just asked him.
I was perusing your
Okay.
Mr. Golding's statutory
Our
declarations.
books are laugh for you. Yes, Who Done It?
Yeah, man. I agree with you, Ricardo.
Yes.
In reprimanding Carl. Good guy, he is a delegate, but must be careful that he don't alienate JLP voters or other the middle ground who want to be on the JLP side.
Yeah.
Understand? So I agree with that reprimand, but he must address Mr. Phillips as Dr. Phillips and all of the title that they have. You know?
Right, because I don't have a problem with people coming here to, advance their views or support for a party. But you don't have to be disrespectful or demeaning to the other side to do that. You can make substantive
but there's
arguments.
two quick thing I want to jump on this evening. Two quick things. One of them is the student loan, Ricardo, Siobhan. There is a situation where there are students who apply to the student loan, and I think they lend them about $1 million for each academic year. Now, you opens about, the last week, I believe, in August, and what I've been hearing that students are being told that they can't sit in classes because student loan, even though they sent over their commitment letter, UWI is saying that you cannot sit in your class until when they receive the money into their account. Now, why is this tidiness, this untidy situation there, which is untenable, and this happens over and over, and every year is the same thing with no change? Because if it's a case where students have to, they can't sit in class, why is it that the student loan supposed to have what they call a confirmation date, where they would have their commitment letter sent over, like so then the 30th of July, and then on the 15th of August, the money must be in the student account. So therefore, no students supposed to, them can't go class, Ricardo, and eventually when the money come over now, them still have to over paying back that $1 million, and they are losing valuable lessons from their lecture. And it's very untidy, guys. Trust me, this thing needs to stop.
So you
Because
want
I
the
know
SLB to...
who sit at home now and then can't go in a class. And at the same time, when the money come over, they still have to put up the $1 million, and they're losing valuable classes.
So you want the SLB to send over the money sooner?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Now there must be what you call, that's why I suggested the 30th of July for the commitment letter from the SLB, and the money is supposed to be in UWI account no later than the 15th of August, because you will start around the 28th of August that time. Yeah. So they need to do better. It is very untidy, and Ricardo, Siobhan, this has been happening over and over. And these are two premier institutions that you don't expect this kind of bundle to be happening at such institutions.
Yeah.
All right. With what is going on now, the Prime Minister situation here on the IC, I listened to Richie, and there was a lady that came on after, and then there was Amalo. And you cannot rule out, while we don't want to incite any sort of violent demonstration, because we are not going back to the kind of politics that we have had over the years in the 1970s, leading up to 1980 general election. However, there is reasonable grounds, Ricardo, Siobhan, if the people decide to vote there and demonstrate. I don't tell you why there's reason to go. Because you see that independent investigation that was done by the international forensic expert, that document should have never, it should be attached to the special report. And IC must tell the Jamaican people, why is it that report was not attached to the report that they tabled, the special report that they tabled into the House? It is untenable, it is messy, and these are the kind of things that cause people to say that they are political. You with me?
Yeah, man.
And then with regards to Mr. Golding calling for the Prime Minister to resign, the Prime Minister is not in charge, and I have a problem with they sending his statutory declaration for further review by FID. The man is not charged for anything. FID must only go to those people, I presume, when you are actually in a criminal situation here. And then what is the other thing also is that the Prime Minister now will have to go find legal fee to take the matter for a judicial review based on the report that the IC sent out. I mean, these are a lot of situations that doesn't, I mean, that when people say the IC is political and mischievous and perhaps bordering on being malfeasance in the way how they conducted their affairs, you can't really blame them, Roshan, because in Russia, Ricardo and Siobhan, because it's looking clearly that you can't rule out a witch hunt. Because how I really look at this, guys, is that the delay is deliberate, the timing and the smacking of it into a particular time, and there's people how they're running up and down, say this and that, and no information before the commissioner, the IC, published the report and all of these things. And my final argument also, Mark Golding is asking the Prime Minister to resign based on speculations here. That's on any facts. Now, we have the facts that he has misled the nation with regards to his British citizenship status and having a British passport. That is misleading the public. Am I correct, guys? And therefore the record is there. You have him on tape doing all of this and saying all of these things.
Wait, say that again? He used what?
No, when the journalist questioned him about his British citizenship, and he denied it. What that was? Wasn't that misleading? Wasn't that lying, Siobhan and Ricardo? And he subsequently caved in and admitted that he's a British citizenship.
No, but did he ever deny it? I don't recall him
Yeah,
denying.
man, he had denied it, man.
Denied that he was a British citizen?
Yeah, man,
I don't think he did that.
No, man, I don't think he denied it. No,
I don't think he denied his
British
British
citizenship. He said he didn't have a British passport.
That is what he said.
That's what he said. He said he didn't have a British passport, but he didn't deny being a citizen.
He said he did not have a valid British passport.
Right.
That he eventually, Ricardo and Siobhan confirmed that he has.
That he is of British descent. Yes.
Yes.
So you're conflating the two. He said he didn't have a valid British passport. He didn't deny being a British citizen. So two separate things.
So anyhow, thank you for having me. But the Integrity Commission has caused all of this mess.
All right, who done it? Alric?
Guys, how you doing?
Evening, all right.
Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
My birthday is Sunday.
Yes, sir.
I heard the clip ask where you want for your birthday and you tell him 20 pack and then boy tell us say no ambition.
Yeah, Bugsy tell me
You
that.
ask him to 50. Well, me not ask you 20. My birthday is Sunday. I'll be 72 on Sunday. I ask you a little 10 pack from you.
$10,000. All right. So Siobhan gonna pay that for me.
Really?
The dozen.
No. Siobhan get the big money, Siobhan get the big money. Siobhan pay that for me, man.
I wish I was.
But Siobhan, you say much straight down for you.
Siobhan match it up quick.
All right. Look here.
So happy birthday when it comes, though.
Yeah, man, thanks, guys.
72 is... Are you sounding young for 72, though?
I don't know, I'm Ricardo. Me try and keep myself, upon up. Look here.
Yes.
Hypothetically, listen.
Uh-huh.
Me, Ed, the watchdog country now where me live, like the Integrity Commission.
Uh-huh.
You is the FID big guy. And Chevron live Algeria. They have a situation when I investigate somebody in my country
Uh-huh.
for illicit gains of stuff. And me go over your head and me go to Chevron from Algeria and pay him $30 million to come investigate the person who me looking at for the illicit thing. Then when Chevron no find nothing for report, the people in the country where me live don't know who me get the contract. And then me come back to you now to come honor the case. What would you think?
My only question is why the Integrity Commission had not called the FID in to investigate long before it had to be tabled in Parliament.
Ricardo?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Why didn't they refer the matter to the FID before sending the report to Parliament? You see, these are questions, and this is why I say I want the commissioners to appear before the Parliament, because these are questions they should answer.
All right.
Why didn't they?
A little bit of time left. That is where I'm going. So they can't tell us who they went to and pay the $30 million. They can't tell us.
By the way, how are you? Who did they say how much they paid?
And then come back to the FID.
I believe it's
so why
independent.
them can't come before Parliament and just lay everything out on the table?
Well, I believe we'll find out that next week, Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
They're due to appear.
Yes.
Yeah, I would want to know why they wouldn't have referred the matter to the FID, have the finality.
And people and pay them $30 million of Jamaica taxpayers' money.
That's a good question.
And we can't find out who them pay and what the results are. And now you come back to the FID. Because why? My opinion, not the station. You don't get the results you want. So you which one not going anywhere. Because we lost trust in this Integrity Commission going over 2-3 years now. So you get the result from you want and you spend $30 million worth of taxpayers' money. No get the result, and now you come back to the FID, the people we should have gone to first. And if you're not satisfied with the FID, then you call in the overseas forensic expert. I want them to come to the nation and tell me where them go, who them pay to $30 million, and make we know what the results are before they can tell me anything about Mr. Wallace, because we lose confidence in them long time. I am not saying Mr. Wallace is right or wrong, or he's guilty or not guilty, but you have to come show me more facts, man. You have to tell me why you go foreign and pay $30 million of Jamaica taxpayers' money to people you can't tell me who they are, and you can't give me the result.
All right.
That is all I'm saying.
All right. Happy birthday when it comes.
Thanks, guys. And don't have a valid point or not?
No, yeah. I think that's a reasonable question.
You can't spend my money and not tell me how you spend it and how you spend it with, and then you don't get the result, and you come back a yard to the people who are here who are supposed to do that.
All right. Yeah, and just before we go, motorists using Caribbean Estate and its environs, you are being advised to expect delays. According to reports, several horses have bolted from a nearby stable into oncoming traffic, resulting in major damage to several vehicles. A number of the horses sustained multiple injuries, and it's unclear the extent of injuries to motorists. No reported deaths have been made. The incident has resulted in a traffic snarl and the rerouting of vehicles. So, again, motorists in the vicinity of Caribbean Estate and environs, you are being asked, or advised rather, to expect delays. Now, according to reports we're receiving, some horses have bolted from a nearby stable into oncoming traffic, and that's resulted in major damage to several vehicles in the area. A number of the horses, we're told, sustained multiple injuries, and it's unclear the extent of the injuries to motorists. However, no deaths have been reported, and the incident has resulted in a traffic snarl and the rerouting of vehicles.
Just before we wrap up, Ricardo, I did further checks with Mr. Golding's statutory declarations, and there is a US dollar real estate asset of $140,000 US, which translates to roughly $22 million. As to why it's in US dollars, I don't know if that's not local to Jamaica or it's listed somewhere else, but he does have real estate listed among his assets in US dollars, not Jamaican.
Yeah, all right. That's all the time we have this evening. Special thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, Andrew Glenn Anderson. We call him Bugs. The what?
The girl that Bugs.
Bugs. Thank you. Our colleagues in the newsroom, led by our editor this week, Kimone Thompson. All of you who make the show possible, thank you so much. Special thanks to our listeners, our contributors, our sponsors, our friends on YouTube. We appreciate you. All our callers, yeah? I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Shafat Campbell.
Good evening.
We can light up your